Welcome to the Lineman Lounge, hosted by Mike and Evo, calling their shots and being outlandish.
Breaking news from the Lineman Lounge. My fantasy football team just took a huge fucking hit. And that also makes it even more likely that the Raiders are going to beat the Ravens on Monday night. Le'Veon Bell is about to be your starter. Latavius Murray is going to go there as well. Jesus, fuck my ass.
Get ready for the thickest podcast in the game. Coming to you from Hangar 6, where sleeves are optional. Strap in. The show starts right now.
¿Cómo están, bitches? This is the Lineman Lounge. I'm Mike. The man to my right is Evo, and we are back on this beautiful Saturday, and we have got a ton of shit to talk about. The NFL season is underway. Preseason games have started. We got Little League World Series going on. College football, we got the coaches poll out. AP poll comes out on Monday. All sorts of shit happening in the baseball world. Guardians are in first place. We got suspensions happening for guys that we were really expecting to come back and contribute to a playoff caliber team. So ton of shit going on. And as always, we'll talk about some youth sports. But before we get into the show, Evo, how's your weekend going, man?
Hey, again, it's just starting for me, you know. It's not early afternoon like it is for you. So I got really no big plans here for the weekend so far. Just kind of relaxing, chilling. Did a little bit of yard work last week, and yeah, now I'm just kind of chilling.
Very nice, very nice. You get out and play any golf recently?
I have not. It's been a couple weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think I've actually got a decent amount of stuff coming up here in the next couple weeks that we'll have to talk about. We might have to adjust some show times and stuff like that because my work schedule is going to adjust a little bit. I know your work schedule has completely changed. So
yeah, my work schedule is completely non-existent. So I have all the time in the world until the end of the month when I start classes at Cleveland State, which I'm very excited for.
Yeah, so we might move some things around, some show times and whatnot. So we'll see going forward here how it goes. Which, quite honestly, if Saturday mornings open up a little bit, I might end up playing a little bit more golf.
There you go. I mean, getting out there playing some golf is always good. I played a couple. Was it last Monday? Went out and played with Byron and his father-in-law. Did a little like best ball with the three of us, and then the way we kept score was whoever's strokes we used the most of was the winner at the end of the day. I mean, I played pretty good. I got a new driver because I could not fucking hit my old one. Hit it pretty well. I hit my irons as good as I've had in, I don't know, fucking years. So I ended up with 30 total shots that I accounted for. Ended up, I think, with a 76 on the day. So I had about half, just under half the shots. So that was pretty good. The old man did win. He ended up with 33 of the 30 shot of those shots. Byron came in last, but you know, Byron is just getting into golfing. He actually bought my old driver, which he smacks the absolute piss out of. So kind of getting into that. Hopefully going to play a little bit more here in the near future as well. I mean, I love playing out here. Everything is so fucking green. I don't got to hit off of dirt and fucking go out into the middle of prairies, worry about, you know, rattlesnakes. Now I do have to worry about ticks and other shit out here, poison ivy. So if I hit it in the woods, I'm not going to fucking get it. But man, it's been good playing. I started playing a little bit better, especially since that tournament that I played in at my former employer. That I played like absolute dog shit. So it was nice to get out there, swing the clubs, and actually play a little bit better.
Very nice. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw or had a notification pop up on my 18 birdies that you had played around, and when I looked at it, I was like, 76 from Mike? Did he only play 9?
No, I played the whole amount, but it was a little best ball. We did end up using like one or two of my drives. I'm still trying to figure out how to fucking drive the ball. A lot of my iron shots were played. A lot of my short game was played. I mean, that's where I'm pretty good, is the short game and in the putting. So if I can get my irons to play a little more consistently like I did last time, and then finally figure out how to fucking put the ball in the middle of the fairway, I'll start, I'll get under that 100 mark, which has been so elusive for so long. I think the best I've ever shot's like a 102. So I'm not good at golf, but I'm working on getting better.
That's
Got a long time to play.
The last time I played, which was 2 or 3 weeks ago, it might have been your anniversary. Yeah, I shot just right around my average, which it was, I was expecting to have a bad day because I hadn't played in so long, but it was right around an 81 or an 82. Like for me, it's just consistency. Like I'll have a blow up hole here or two, or, here or there. And where, instead of shooting a par or a bogey, I end up getting like a, triple. And that's what really screws me. Just consistency with the short irons, more or less.
Yeah, so I gotta figure out if I don't have to hit the driver far. If I can put that bitch just at 200 somewhere where I can have a line at the next shot, I should be okay. I'm fairly decent in that range where I can, I can get out there with chances to putt for pars. And if I'm putting for pars, I'm typically gonna make a 5. I'll get it close on the par putt. Then I'll fucking just slightly miss it, the foot off, and then tap that bitch in for a bogey. That's where I'd like to be. A little bogey golf would be good with me.
Yeah, for sure. All righty.
Yeah. So let's get into the show. Let's start with some youth sports. So baseball is done out here. But we are in football right now. Graydon is on the Mentor A silver team. So there's 3 different teams out here in the Mentor A division. That's 10 and 11-year-olds. Silver does not mean, there was the second team. They didn't do a gold, silver, bronze. It's just the color that goes with the jerseys. His team looks pretty good. It has been a step up in competition for him. He has performed fairly well. He is right now slotted to start at that center position he's played for a long time. But right now he's not getting any reps on defense. He's just not been, up to the caliber that they would like him to be, or that, he's kind of shown in the past. So he's still working on some of those things, getting used to it. He's getting a little bigger, a little taller. So he's still figuring out his body. But, being a kid who was a starter on offense and defense, now he's just starting on offense. There is that step up in competition, but he's performed well. He's done a really good job of learning a new system here and kind of getting acclimated to what they want to do on offense. Arizona, we were running a lot of 2 tight ends, zone blocking scheme. And out here we're running, a spread offense gap scheme on the blocking. And so learning new terminology, learning new assignments. He's done a really good job at that on the offensive side. And this team should be really good. The high school here, Mentor High School, is pretty good at the football. Mitch Trubisky is a guy who graduated from Mentor. So they are big on their quarterback play. They're going to throw a ball a lot more here than they have, than Graydon's used to in the past. We did a lot of running. So, but all in all, getting better. And tomorrow we got our first scrimmage against Riverside, the team where Graydon will actually be going to high school, because we're going to be living out in Paynesville. Right now, we're right on that border of Mentor and Paynesville. So he's on that Mentor squad because, well, we got here late and it was one of the only places I can get him in to make sure he doesn't miss a year.
Very cool. Very cool. And hey, with that step up in competition, I mean, that makes sense that it might take even up to a season for him to get used to what it means to play both sides of the ball going forward. So that's not a problem. If anything, it'll be good. It's kind of that, maybe give him that chip on the shoulder, like, hey, you played both sides back in Sierra Vista. This is a step up. You need to step up your game. Mm-hmm. So got to look at it as a positive, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of those things that's tough, especially when you're talking about youth sports, is, kids who are used to success, now they have to work a little bit harder, but that's good. And that's one thing I talked to him about last night. You have to learn how to fail. If you're ever going to succeed, you have to know how to fail. And failing for 10, 11-year-olds is not an easy thing. They fucking hate failing. Nobody likes failing. But as you get older, you start to learn, because I'm failing, I can learn, I can get better, and I can, correct those mistakes. So that's all part of the process. And that's something that you want to instill in young kids is, listen, failing is a part of the process. If you don't fail, I don't know that if you'll ever truly succeed. Now, maybe that's just a me thing that thinks that, but I would imagine that there's a lot of youth coaches out there that expect some failures because, I mean, they're going to happen. You can't expect perfection out of 10, 11-year-olds, even up to probably about 14, 15. You're not going to expect perfection. When you get into high school, your coaches are going to expect perfection. Will they ever truly get it? No, probably not. But that's when that expectation is much, much higher. So,
Absolutely.
but all right. So that's all I got really for youth sports that are going on around here. However, there are youth sports going on around the country. And one of the coolest, events that takes place every year is that Little League World Series. Little League World Series is going on right now. And man, watching some of these kids play, it's like, God damn, man. There's one kid that probably would have hit a bomb out of, a major league park. He hit that bitch 330 and just absolutely leaned into it. Announcers didn't even know where the fucking ball landed when it finally came down. You're talking about kids who are, 5'8", 5'9" at the age of 12, 150 pounds, and they know how to use their bodies. They have really good swings. But there's one kid who is not going to be, we're not going to be able to see him in the Little League World Series. That Wyoming team was knocked out. But there was a boy from that Gillette team in Wyoming, country boy, and you don't have to know much about him to know he's a country boy, other than the fact that he was using leather work gloves as his batting gloves. This looked like a fucking cowboy. Got up there, took a big old daddy hack, and launched an absolute nuke over the fence. And I mean, that screams Wyoming. I graduated high school from Wyoming. So I know how some of those kids are. And man, that was such a cool thing, because baseball can kind of be a little bit of a yuppie sport sometimes. A lot of fancy kids, high caliber equipment, hundreds of dollars for equipment. And you get this kid out there fucking taking hacks with leather work gloves and just putting on a show. That was awesome to see.
Yeah, I'm sure part of it is, hey, I'm a blue collar kid from Montana or from Wyoming, excuse me. I'm aware leather work gloves. But part of it is probably like he probably played at some point in leather work gloves because that's what they had. Now, being in the Little League World Series, there's sponsors and things like that. I'm sure that they got them good equipment if they need it. And he probably elected to wear those gloves intentionally. Yeah. And it might be like, hey, this is what I'm used to, batting in a thinner batter's glove, because they're pretty thin, probably, or might have felt weird for him. So, but I believe his name was Aiden Jeffries or Aiden Jeffress or something like that.
Jeffress, I think that's what it was.
But yeah, smacked a mammoth dinger out of the park there.
Yeah, that shit's really cool to see, and you get the kind of experience, and you can kind of feel the emotion coming through the screen when you're watching these kids, especially if you're involved in youth sports. You know what those moments feel like. You can see the excitement on their faces, and it's a really cool experience. But the Little League World Series is not without its flaws, and one of those flaws was on full display. And it really sucks for the Oregon team. Great for Washington, but one of the things about Little League World Series is that all the umpires, all the crew are volunteers. They do not get paid. Okay, if you get paid, you cannot go to Williamsport and be an umpire. That is part of the thing. If you want a chance to go to Williamsport, you cannot get paid. You must do it as a volunteer. But anytime we have those volunteers, there's going to be mistakes. Well, a massive mistake happened in that Washington and Oregon game. Washington is up to bat. Guy on first base. Last inning, kid hits a nice little rip down the line, and third base umpire calls it foul. Okay, so Oregon, their players, naturally, they stop on the play. Ball's foul. Don't got to worry about it. Okay, well, home plate umpire calls that ball fair. Everybody else thinks the ball is fair, and Washington keeps running around the bases. Nobody in the field is playing the ball. Kid scores easily from Washington, and they win the game. They walk off, right? Well, they go to a replay. After replay, they confirm that the ball was fair. Now, that ball is fair. cool. I understand the ball. They say the ball's fair. The play should continue. But when that third base umpire calls it foul, you can't expect those kids. What are we thinking that they're going to do? They know the rules of baseball. They're at one of the highest levels of baseball for their age, and they're doing exactly what they should. They're stopping on the play because the ball is foul, according to the third base umpire, the guy who was supposed to make that call down that line. And that scenario cost this Oregon team a chance to go and play in Williamsport at the Little League World Series. So that's a really tough look on the Little League World Series. And that official, like, I don't know if you're going to keep going on to the next level. Do we blame the kids? Do we talk about the umpires? I mean, do they got to confer there? Because is there a rule that we put a kid on second base, put him somewhere instead of allowing that play to score and end Oregon's chances? Because we just stole an opportunity at Williamsport from 15, 11 and 12-year-olds.
Yeah, that's, to me, if one of those umpires calls it foul, like, that should just kind of be it. Like, it would be like if, I guess a fan runs onto the field or something like that, grabs the ball, like, you kind of got to stop play. Mm-hmm. And so
you award two bases and then you continue play.
Yeah, if the umpire, one of them calls it foul and calls the play dead, it's the same thing in football. Like, if a referee's out there and blows the whistle and calls the play dead, the play's dead, regardless of if the play should have been dead or not. The play is now dead. If one of the umps calls the ball foul, the play's dead at that point. Unfortunate if it, like you said, like, it is a fair ball, but like, those mistakes are way more understandable compared to having a play continue on when half the field, an entire another team is not playing anymore,
right,
because they got told not to.
Yeah, it was a tough situation. The umpires in Williamsport, they are volunteers. It's awesome that they are volunteers. But you can't make that kind of mistake because of the cost of what it is.
I'm not even going to say that that's on the umps. That should just be a rule from the Little League World Series at that point. That should be like, they should have a third party officiating person that's
right,
that can come out and be like, hey, you guys made a mistake, which completely rendered the play unplayable for one side. This is how we have to rectify it. It shouldn't be like, oh, well, because one team followed the umpire or followed, one official, and the other one didn't. Like, it just shouldn't work that way,
Yeah, it's awful. And I feel bad for those kids from Oregon. I mean, Washington's a very good team. They very well could have just won that game outright anyways. They were the home team.
It just doesn't feel fair.
It just and it doesn't feel right. Now, as somebody who is constantly around youth sports, you see some bad umpires, and you're not going to see that typically too much in the Little League World Series. Now, you'll see some shit some calls that are atrocious behind the plate because that strike zone is still expanded.
You normally only have one out there, though, right?
So
when I grew up, we only ever had one behind the plate.
Yeah, we had one guy behind the plate. Typically, every once in a while, if they had enough people, we'd get a guy in the field and a guy behind the plate. I think Williamsport's actually using three. So one guy down the first base line, one guy down the third base line, and then a guy behind the plate. Still not a full umpiring crew like you would see in Major League. They're going to have four guys on the field, somebody in the middle of the field looking at plays at second base. But they have more than your standard as well. And I mean, with three, so at least you got to come together, talk about what happened. We can't let a group of kids lose that massive opportunity off of, a mistake that they didn't make.
Yeah.
Like, if they make that mistake, then okay, then that's on you guys. But
would the same ruling have been made in the majors?
I don't think so. And that's the thing. Is like, if somebody calls a ball foul or a ball fair, right? There's only one person who's typically going to make that call. It's going to be the guy down the third base line. And now if there was a mistake, an egregious mistake, right? that crew gets together, they talk about it, and so you are awarded first base or second base because of whatever. This guy is here. But when that call is made, the third base guy is the guy who makes that fucking call. Plain and simple. Now, in Major League Baseball, you have reviews. You can go back and review, just like they do in the Little League World Series. The only place you're going to have, youth sports having these, replay officials. But the ruling can't be, we fucked up and let's play continued and you lost. It doesn't sit right with me as a parent, as a fan of youth sports, as a baseball fan, because that kind of thing, it's not going to happen at the major league level for sure. There's no way that is the way it's going to play out. Now, we got some baseball people in here. I know we do. We got Dean, we got Mike. So if they see this and they want to tell us, what they've seen in the past, what that call, what calls they've seen, how that has been changed, we'd appreciate that, because I'm 99% sure that's not ever going to happen in Major League. Once that third base umpire makes that ruling, that's what the ruling is. And if there's a mistake, the crew gets together and somebody will get a call somewhere else, because, baseball is prone to do that. If a guy behind the plate misses one, maybe you'll get another one a little later. So I don't know, but yeah, tough situation for those boys out in Oregon.
Yeah, unfortunate, but again, it's a good learning lesson one way or the other for everyone involved.
Yeah, I mean, I guess don't stop. Don't ever stop on a play. Yeah, I guess, man, and Washington knew right away. They were like, "Oh, just fucking keep running." So I mean, good on their coaches too.
I said it's too easy for the runner to just keep running the bases.
Just keep going. Yeah,
that's what's one player versus the entire field of players working in concert to get the ball back into the infield and so on and so forth. You're also talking about a home plate umpire who's right there next to the runner as they hit. Yeah. And the third base ump who's yelling to the entirety of the field.
Yeah. And his hands go up. He makes a signal. Foul ball. Like you can hear him on the video say foul ball. Mm-hmm. Like it's, yeah. Oh, man. I feel bad for those kids. But, maybe they'll be back. Some of those kids are going to age out. They won't be able to be back at Williamsport. Some of those younger kids who are on that team, maybe they'll have another chance. And I would imagine that anybody on that Oregon squad is going to take that moment going forward and use that as motivation and kind of a learning lesson, like we were talking about before. Just keep going, keep playing, because crazy shit happens, especially at the youth sports level.
Absolutely.
There's not fucking replays anywhere but the Little League World Series. So just keep playing, because you might not know what the hell the call is. But.
Yes, sir. All right. Ready to move on?
Yeah, let's move on. So since we were just talking about some baseball, let's stick with that theme. Let's stay in the world of baseball, and some massive news coming out of Major League Baseball yesterday. Really, really shitty situation for the Padres. One of their stars, a guy that they were just getting ready to bring back into the fold to help them make that playoff push, Fernando Tatis Jr. has been banned 80 games for PED violations. And this is a massive blow. He is a absolute star on and off the field. He's going to slot right into the middle of their lineup coming back. And they just made massive moves to go out and get a Juan Soto, a Josh Bell. That team is poised and ready to make a run, and now they're going to be missing their franchise guy in Fernando Tatis Jr. And it's not a great look for him. He has come out and said that I took a medication for ringworm that had a banned substance in it.
Yeah, it's clostebol.
Yeah, I'm not sure what clostebol is.
So it says clostebol is on the World Anti-Doping Agency's banned list because it falls under an anabolic agent, though it's not considered powerful like other anabolic steroids like Dianabol. It's a synthetic derivative of a muscle-building steroid that the body naturally produces in larger amounts in men than women. However, it can be used in antibiotic agents, and in this case, like with Tatis, he's saying, is something that I took for ringworm.
Yeah.
or says, I inadvertently took a medication to treat ringworm that contained clostebol that he wasn't aware that it was in, which again, like I feel like if you're taking anything as
If
a
you're a
professional athlete, it should
pro,
be run through the
yeah.
medical staff of the team. So, I mean, that is on him, but it always sucks when like, oh, you're taking a medication for something else for probably a legitimate medical concern, and then it ends up, kind of screwing you here.
Yeah. And one thing that is even tougher about the situation is that Fernando Tatis has been on the IL all year. So there are going to be questions about his character. Was he doing something? Was he taking something to help in his recovery to get back on the field? Now, I do not know Fernando Tatis. I know that he is a very hardworking kid that, you can see the passion when he plays, but I don't know him. I don't know him personally. I don't know that he would be one of those people that would cheat, but people are going to question that because of the situation with him being on the IL, maybe trying to speed up that recovery to get back. And those questions will probably never go away. And he's going to have 80 games to think about that, because that's what the going rate for PED use in Major League is now. You get half a fucking season and you're not eligible for postseason play. You get popped the second time, it's a whole year.
What I'm reading here is that East Germany's state-sponsored doping program in the 1960s and 70s developed clostebol to combine it with another substance to create oral turinabol, which it was an undetectable steroid that it uses athletes with. And it was basically that turinabol that was
that
kind of
trend.
Yeah, more potent. However, so the doping advantage of an injectable clostebol right now is that while it is less potent than testosterone, it mimics the muscle building properties of testosterone to an extent without an estrogen buildup that counteracts it. So there is potential gain from taking it. It just seems like it's even less than normal, like just test. So it would be interesting if that was what he was taking. If he's like, oh, to help recover, I'm going to take something. I'm just going to take something very light, so that way it's not like I'm bulking, getting
coming
bigger,
back
like
and
that,
fucking
but
juice and balls.
Yeah, but something just to speed recovery potentially. Yeah, he wasn't outright taking something crazy in order to get fucking big when he came back. It could have just been like you said, from that ringworm medication, or I suppose it could be something just to get him back on track and back to his normal.
Now, I would like to think that he was taking the medication for ringworm, but people are going to question it. You have to kind of question it because of the situation. And that team right now, they are in a wild card spot. They are poised to hopefully go make a run here, just because, they have so much invested. They are the last team in the wild card right now at 64-51, 2 games ahead of the Brewers. So they were expecting a massive bump in that lineup, and they just committed a ton of prospects for a Juan Soto and a Josh Bell to actually make a run. Now, I talked about it on my own personal Facebook. I was like, the Padres are all in. And if they fuck this up, if they find a way to not make the playoffs with the moves that they just made, this is going to be really bad. They blew it up last year. They got rid of their manager, and they made some other changes. If they do that again, the Padres organization is going to be in a bad way, because they have a lot of money committed, a lot of big time names. This is a squad that should be competing with the Yankees and the Dodgers for those top positions, because of just the horses they got in that fucking lineup. They mortgaged their future. 2 of the top 100 prospects, or maybe it was even 3 top 100 prospects, went in that Juan Soto deal. So yeah, they got to find a way to say, okay, we got to move on for Fernando Tatis. They got some guys. They got a Jake Cronenworth who can do a lot of different things. So they got guys that can fill in there, but it is a massive blow to them.
Yeah. And looking further into this, he said Tatis said They said I inadvertently took a medication to treat ringworm that contained clostebol. I should have used the resources available to me in order to ensure that no banned substances were in what I took. I failed to do so. I want to apologize to the team owner, the entire Padres organization, my teammates, Major League Baseball, and fans everywhere for my mistake. I have no excuse for my error, and I would never do anything to cheat or disrespect this game that I love. I've taken countless drug tests through my professional career, including one on March 29th of 2022, all of which have returned negative results until this most recent test. So, I mean,
it doesn't seem like he was doing it, but people are still going to question it. I guarantee it. I believe him. I believe that it was a ringworm thing. And yeah, so what's up, Torres? Yeah, you can call us bitches or putas or whatever other fucking languages you speak.
Oh, it's because he keeps on getting Facebook bans.
I know the guy. I think he's the only one who has been dinged on the Facebook for any offensive language, and obviously Facebook does not watch these fucking podcasts back because
I think realistically it's because Facebook does hate people of non-white ethnicities. They try to purport something different usually, but they just continue to go after people without white skin and give them bans and things like that, which is really unfortunate. I know we hear a lot about their social justice and stuff like that, but it's all just a front to try to keep the brown man down like Torres. Though I will say I did just get off a 30-day ban myself for a
I was wondering, you were saying that you posted stuff to the Facebook. I was like,
I posted a picture years and years and years ago of a fat white man in whitey tighties, and it said, "Allow me to present."
Uh-oh, you're starting to break up. Uh-oh, I think we lost Evo. He's frozen.
My video. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. There you go. Now you're back. We got you.
Well, I have a unstable connection again. There is thunder outside right now. We are keeping monsoons.
Okay, so Evo may have a little bit of issues with his connection. We'll work through it. I mean, we always find a way. That's what we do here. The thickest podcast in sports doesn't stop for a little fucking thunder. We'll make it work.
No. But yeah, I got banned for not for having nudity or anything like that, but it still was sexual related content. So I caught a 30-day ban for something that I did back in like 2015, apparently. So I like Facebook and their plunger and bringing up old shit. Yeah. Like I said, trying to keep the non-white ethnicities down.
Yeah. Do they get whiter than Scandinavian?
I don't know.
I don't think that they do. Honestly, I really don't think they do. But all right, so let's keep going with some Major League Baseball stuff. And I'm very happy to report that the Cleveland Guardians are back in fucking first place. Made no moves at the trade deadline. The only move they did make was they dumped Franmil Reyes. Every Guardians fan was like, we need another bat. We need another bat. We needed somebody with some power. And the one guy we have on our team that's got some power, who has not been hitting the ball very well this season, was fucking designated free agent. And now we're just playing a bunch of kids. Pitching staff is kind of working its way through some heartaches they've had this year. They've been really good recently. And we are a game and a half up on your Twins, who did go out and make some moves at the deadline to get much better, especially attack that pitching staff that was having a rough year. How are you feeling right now, down a game and a half after you made these moves? And are you comfortable? Are you guys going to climb back in? Are these young ass Guardians going to start to make a push and really set up the future to look very, very bright?
Well, I mean, I'm happy they made the moves. Hopefully it just takes a little bit of time for everything to mesh. But the Twins have just continued to kind of play 500 ball, win one, lose one, win one, lose one type thing. We haven't seen much of an uptick yet from the moves being made. The good news is that we haven't seen some sort of like a noticeable downtick in play from trading pieces or anything like that. I mean, we've been playing some tough teams, Padres, Dodgers, things like that. we're about to, or we're in a series right now with the Angels. So we'll see how that goes. But I don't know. Hopefully things just get kicked back on track here before too long. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'd like to say that they're just figuring things out, but I don't know yet. I'm not upset that we made the moves that we did. I would much rather that we make moves in an attempt to try to better ourselves, but we just continue to kind of play this 500 ball right now.
Yeah, you're talking about 500 ball. They're 5-5 over their last 10. Guardians 7-3. We won 6 straight. We got a big series against Toronto. Got a massive win last night. Beat the piss out of the Blue Jays. That was awesome. Josh Naylor's a fucking wild man. He's from Canada. Hit a nuke last night to kind of put them up and never had to look back from that point. So I'm very excited about the youth movement that the Guardians are doing. I love the fact that we're not trying to hit the ball out of the yard every time we're at the plate. This is old school baseball, and I fucking love it, dude. I like watching guys hit a runner over, hit behind the runner, fucking slap it to the other field, get on base, like get them on, get them over, get them in. I'm all for that style of baseball because nobody's fucking playing it besides the Guardians right now. Most teams, 29 other teams, are playing the 3 true outcomes game. They're home run, a walk, or a fucking strikeout. And the Guardians are playing old school baseball, and it's absolutely working. If that pitching staff can continue to build on the things that they have done, this team could be very dangerous when we get to October. The ball doesn't fly out of the yard in October like it does in August and July, where these bombs are getting hit. So if we're making really good contact, we could be a dangerous team because we're not dependent on the long ball. If we can pitch and get on base, that's the exact same way the Kansas City Royals won their fucking World Series, getting on, stealing bases, playing good defense, and pitching well. Like, I'm cautiously optimistic right now that we could actually cause a little bit of a shakeup.
Hey, I mean, more power to the Guardians right now. It's cool to see a very much so homegrown team with a lot of young players making a run. We'll see if it can last. Honestly, like the Central right now is a scary division because the White Sox are making this,
they're starting to come
surge as well. So it'll be real interesting here coming down the stretch.
Yeah, this is a 3-team race right now. The Royals are well out of it. So are the Tigers. They're both trash. They're not very good. Tigers were supposed to be pretty good this year. They made some moves in the offseason to be good, and they're just not. There's going to be some changes there. Miguel Cabrera is talking about coming back next year, which I was not expecting, especially after his appointment to the All-Star game that he didn't earn by his play, but by his career. But now he's talking about coming back, even though he can barely get down the line. It's tough to watch. Like, I love Miguel Cabrera. I hate him, but I love him as a baseball player. He has been a thorn in my side for as long as he has been in Detroit. The same thing with the Guardians. They do not like fucking seeing Miguel Cabrera because he does Miguel Cabrera things even when he can barely walk. So the idea that he's going to come back now, I don't know if it's for the money, if he wants to get to a certain milestone that he's just not quite there yet. But yeah, they're out. The White Sox are starting to climb back in, which pisses me off because I hate fucking Tony La Russa more than anybody in baseball. I have talked about it so many times. He is a fucking scumbag. He will, like, if we ever become famous and like we have chances to interview people, who won't ever fucking be on the show is Tony La Russa. Because if he ever goes back and listens to any of the things that I've said, he won't want to be here, and I wouldn't allow him on the fucking show. I cannot stand him. So I like old school baseball, not the old school baseball that he brings. The fucking bullshit rule, like he sent a guy down to the fucking minors because he hit a home run on a 3-0 pitch in a game that they were winning. Like, get the fuck out of here. Guys are trying to make money. I'm always team player. Fucking hit nukes. Build your stats, get paid. So yeah, I can't stand him. I don't want to see them back in it. I want Tony La Russa to fail, not because he's the White Sox manager, but because he's Tony La Russa. So hopefully it just stays as a 2-team race, the Twins and the Guardians, and we can keep having these little battles on a weekly basis, seeing where things are going to shake out. Because I don't think either one of us are going to get a wild card spot. It's going to be whoever wins the division.
I think that's how it's going to be, and I think it's probably going to be neck and neck, back and forth like this for the rest of the year. And I would like to see the White Sox just kind of fall away, because one less team in the race makes it a little bit more fun for us.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely it does. Because if the White Sox find a way to come on and we both miss, I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be super pissed.
Well, it's possible the way that they've been playing recently.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh.
Well, are you ready to move on to football?
Yeah, I think I am, because we got some questions in here about football already getting started. So let's dive into football. Preseason is underway. Hard Knocks is going on. There's a lot of shit happening around the football world. The Browns have finally played their first preseason game. I don't want to get pissed off just yet, so we won't talk about that to start. What I do want to talk about, though, is the electric factory that is going on in Detroit. Motor City Dan Campbell, I would run through a wall for that man, and I have never met him.
I almost ordered an MCDC shirt the other day.
Yeah, like he is so badass. He is the guy that people want to play for. Now, I don't know if Detroit is the place where people want to go, but I think after people start watching the way he interacts, how he is, how intense he is, how much he loves his guys, and how much he wants to win, people are going to be like, you know what? Detroit might not be so bad. It's a big city. You can do a lot of different things, because, man, it has been electric, and I fucking love Dan Campbell. Go ahead, man.
Hard Knocks, I always like watching it, even if it's for teams that I don't like, because it's really interesting to see how the inner workings of a team goes on during training camp. It's interesting to see all the different coaches and stuff like that. And it's cool because when you don't get to go to your team's training camp, you kind of get to experience that, like I've talked about the past couple of weeks, where you get latched onto maybe some lesser known players, some lower roster players that Hard Knocks kind of focuses on, and then you end up rooting for that guy. I believe you've told stories about how Amber has latched on to certain players when watching Hard Knocks.
Was Kajust. I don't remember his first name, Kajust. But yeah, she still remembers that guy.
Yeah. So it's fun to do that. But with Detroit, you can really feel it's like palpable watching through Hard Knocks how the culture there has completely flipped from where it has been for the last decade or more. It sucks because they're in the NFC North, and it's like I sit back and I'm watching this, and it's like I want these guys to win every single game except for when they play the Vikings games, yeah. And I don't want them to take the NFC North, but like you're rooting for them hardcore now, because I mean, whether it's just Dan Campbell or it's watching what is it, not Deuce Staley, who's their running back or assistant head coach?
Oh god damn it, what is his name?
It's not Deuce Staley.
It's not Deuce.
It's the former. No, it's the former Eagles running back.
That's Deuce, but
no, is
Detroit.
Isn't
Lions.
Deuce Staley the old Saints running back coach or running back?
Yeah, he played it. He played with the Saints, and I believe he played with the Eagles. It is Deuce Staley. Yeah, it's
okay.
Deuce. Yeah.
Well, watching him and Glenn go back and forth is awesome. The defensive coordinator, where he's like, I love this guy, but between the lines, I want to fuck him up. and they're just jaw-jacking back and forth.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell with, his Metallica quotes and stuff like that. If you see the soothing light at the end of the tunnel, it's just a freight train coming your way. Put your head down, keep grinding. Yep. Shit like that. Like it's awesome to watch you. It is so difficult to not root for that team. And it makes me want to see them win. I mean,
and I think they will.
They just had their first preseason game. They didn't win, but it's preseason, so it doesn't really matter. They still put up a good fight against the Falcons. And
I have to remember that as well. That it's preseason, it doesn't matter.
It is preseason. But yeah, it's a lot of fun to watch the the characters on that team. I mean, the amount. I was telling Hannah as we were watching it the other day. I was like, it's crazy how all of these coaches are players from when I started to really, really get acclimated with football.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's Hank Fraley,
Deuce Staley,
O-line,
Dan Campbell, another former player. Like these are
Mark Brunell's
guys.
The quarterback coach.
Yeah.
Antoine Randall L's the wide receiver coach. Like all these names that I remember watching growing up are now all on this team. And these guys that are on the team, they're younger than us, but not by that much. These are names that are still going to be relevant to them, and they're going to have impact. They're not going to just be some coach. They're going to be like, oh, this guy played in the league for years and was very good at his craft, and he knows what he's talking about, and he's coaching me. And it's like, as a player, I don't know how you couldn't get behind your coaches on this.
Yeah.
And that
the
just
whole
creates
coaching
that
staff
atmosphere.
has the respect of every single one of those players because they've done it. And the way they talk to them, it's not a fucking superior subordinate type of relationship where you can see that with some other coaches. It is there's a mutual respect there, and it's exciting to see, especially because I want to see players come back and be coaches, go and be GMs and move into those higher positions, because I think it's great for the game because it keeps the game more pure. And with this coaching staff and the culture that they're building, I think they're going to win. Yeah. I think they're going to be pretty fucking good. They'll win 8 or 9, I think.
Yeah. And when you talk about that mutual respect, one of the things that they brought up in the show was Dan Campbell goes out, former tight end. He goes out with the defense, and defense does up downs. Up downs are a motherfucker.
Yeah.
They're even worse than pads. And the guys go out there and they do 40 of them. Now I'm used to doing like 10, maybe 20, but they do 40 of them, which are gassing you right before practice starts. And what does he do? He goes down and he does all 40 of them with him. And they have commentary going on. It's like, is this a good idea? Should he be doing this, or should he be evaluating
100%.
who's not doing it or who's slacking off during it? And they're like, no, that's not what this is about. This is about making your guys tough, making them hard. And just like when, you're an NCO in the Army, some of the best NCOs that I had were the ones that were going to get down there in the suck with you. Yep. And do that physical training with you, not just sit back and watch you do it. And the same thing with him. And then he gets up and he's like, oh yeah, I thought I broke my wrist the other day when I tripped over my dogs in a fence going in my house. So I had to tape up the wrist or whatever. And he's still out there doing the
tapes his wrist up and goes right into up downs. Like it's nothing.
And dude, if Dan Campbell isn't jacked, that dude's fucking jacked. He's big. And I don't think they drug test coaches. So he could be on all the juice for all I know. That boy's jacked.
Yeah, he is a big fucking man, and he is super intense. I love what Hard Knocks is doing. I love this fucking Lions team right now. Like they're going to be pretty goddamn good because Jared Goff, he's been to the Super Bowl, right? Now he had a lot of help around him. He can be serviceable, and I think that's all they'll need. They were competitive as fuck last year against a lot of teams that they should not have been competitive against, that at least what we thought and what most people thought. So I think they will do a pretty decent job of winning.
But it doesn't matter if you got one ass cheek and 3 toes. We'll beat your fucking ass. That's their mentality. They're going to drag you into the deep water and drown your ass. Straight from Dan Campbell
gets me going, dude. I fucking love Dan Campbell. But you brought up the fact that he's jacked. Who wins in a fight, Dan Campbell or Mike Vrabel?
Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell?
Yeah.
Yep. Not even a question.
I don't have a question about it. But Mike Vrabel is big, but he's still got a belly. He's not in playing.
Mike Vrabel was a fucking insane human being.
Absolutely. I think Dan Campbell out physicals the fuck out of him right now and out hearts him. At the end of the day. And
that's saying a lot because Mike Vrabel is a big bad motherfucker, and Dan Campbell is, man. If I'm a player, like going and playing for Dan Campbell would be like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's do it. Let's bring a fucking title to Detroit. I don't want to see it because then I got to hear about Detroit winning a title, especially because that's a direct rivalry here in Cleveland. But man, yeah, Dan Campbell is legit. I love him.
Hey, Detroit ain't gonna win the Super Bowl, not this year. You ain't gotta worry about that. I don't think you gotta worry about that. Not that they're not a good team or anything like that, but it's just like they have so much to overcome as a franchise. Like they just decades of not being good and wasting incredible talents.
The curse of fucking Calvin Johnson. I don't know if you know about the curse of Calvin Johnson?
Yep.
Yeah, like.
But I mean, you can take this back to Barry Sanders.
The curse of Barry Sanders. Like, well, they have not done a good job of taking care of their guys when they retire. It's very evident. Barry didn't have connection with the organization for a long time. I don't think Calvin Johnson still does because they won't fucking give him his $1 million that he should have got. But like, yeah, I'm rooting for the Lions. I'm rooting for Dan Campbell unless we play each other. I'm rooting for them every fucking week, and I bet if you're a sports gambler, you could probably make a decent little chunk of change on this goddamn Detroit Lions team this year because they're going to surprise some teams for sure.
Yeah. I would like to see them running through that ass like diarrhea, drip, drip.
Yeah, there we go. There, I love the quote drops. Love.
Oh yeah, that first episode alone just filled with great fucking one-liners.
Yeah.
Like
NFL Films does a great job. The everybody there, they put out fantastic content. Like you can't. Anytime you turn on anything that's done by NFL Films, it's going to be fucking quality. And they find the right shit. So.
Oh yeah, that's at the end of the day. If you're gonna piss like a puppy, stay on the porch. Let the big dogs eat.
Oh man, here we go. Today's show is gonna be a good time. All right. So, anything else on the Hard Knock stuff? Because I could talk about fucking Dan Campbell and Hard Knocks.
Yeah, I wish we could just live stream Hard Knocks as it's going on and actually.
Yeah, we will definitely get pulled down, but
yeah, that will get us killed pretty quick. But by all means, if you have the ability to do so, get yourself HBO Max, watch Hard Knocks. It is 100% worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
All right.
But
so let's move on.
We had more preseason games going on starting Thursday. We had 2 games going on Thursday, a bunch of games last night, I believe 5 games last night. And we got games going on currently right now and more happening the rest of this afternoon. And then we have 1 game tomorrow, my game.
This is your boys.
Yep. So we'll go over the 2 Thursday games first, I suppose. Unless we got a phone call coming in. Is that what
we do have a phone call coming in?
Oh boy.
Go Colts.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail.
Should we accept
press
it?
2.
Should we accept his?
Yeah, you might.
To accept.
All right. Call has been accepted. Torres, you are on the line with the Lineman Lounge. Hopefully this time you'll be able to hear Evo. I got the new set up. So what you got for us, man?
So first off, go Colts. Second off, I read about your center. I'm sorry. Third off, I'm glad Evo has good signal. Question mark.
Yeah, so it appears that his quality has been better.
Yeah. This may be a decent call or this may be a short call because I have the daughter this weekend and she's already looking at me like, what the fuck are you doing? Not paying attention to me. But so I had to wait for you guys to get off of the Lions like you were talking about so I could call in. So you already probably saw my message. So what are you thinking?
All right, we did. We'll pull up that
do?
question so everybody can see it. So how is Matty Ice going to do this season? Screw it, I'm calling in. All right, so here you are calling in, and I think Matty Ice is going to perform pretty well, man. I think that Colts team is going to be very good. I think they'll be much improved from last year with Carson Wentz. Matty Ice is a better quarterback. Matty Ice has been to the Super Bowl. He's won an MVP. He's getting comps to kind of being a prick like Peyton Manning was. Anytime anybody in that Colts organization says anything about you in the same breath as Peyton Manning, you're doing something fucking right. I expect you guys to be very, very good. I don't think that your running back will finish out as RB1 in fantasy this year, because you guys will be able to throw the ball around a little bit more. I don't think you'll have to depend on him as nearly as much as you have to, but you can always still go to him. I think the Colts make the playoffs for sure. They will not lose to the Jags in week 18 and miss out on the playoffs this year.
I hate you so much for bringing that up. But and on top of that, like anytime somebody does a stellar rookie year, you already know that the following year everybody studied them, and like they're not going to be as explosive. But I kind of do agree. Yeah, we don't have to rely on the running game as much, but now I think it's going to be a little dynamic. I just don't know, man. Like I think our coaches make bad decisions. If it isn't our fucking quarterbacks, it's our coaches that are like, let's go for a fucking 4th and 17, and on the 37-yard line, on our 37-yard line or some shit.
All right, well,
like,
Evo, what do you got for him?
Well, first of all, Torres, can you hear me?
Fuck, I can't hear him. Hold on.
No. What is happening right now?
Well,
that's working.
That's a bummer. However, I will say this, and I'm sure that he'll end up hearing me through the actual stream. I agree with Mike. I think the Colts are going to have a phenomenal year. I do think Taylor is going to have another great season. I mean, 3rd year in the league as a running back is going to be really hitting his prime. And the offense is going to be able to be way more dynamic because you're going to have a very good quarterback compared to a Carson Wentz or something like that. My only concern with that team, the only weakness on that roster that I'm really feeling is the wide receiver room. You don't have a ton of big name receivers. You've got a tight end and one guy at wide receiver that you can really rely on. So that's my main fear for the Colts. I wish that they had gone out there and gotten a free agent or one of those top tier rookies. But at the end of the day, I still think that you guys are going to be extremely competitive. You have mostly what you had last year as far as receivers and just a better passer now. So I fully expect the Colts to have a fantastic year, go deep in the playoffs.
I got to figure out this phone thing because I thought I had it. Apparently not.
No, you're good. I think I already heard for the most part what he had. And yeah, I agree. Like, and I don't almost for like a Cinderella effect or Cinderella story. I kind of wanted to pick up Julio Jones just because they could have been that, who did we pick up like a couple of years ago? It was Andre Johnson. Picked him up. He was a veteran dude. He was one of the mentors in the locker room, and I was like, bring up Julio Jones. Nobody cares. He's going to get injured, whatever, but he can be like that inspiration to the young wide receiver core that we have or don't have. But we did lose fucking Jack Doyle too. Like that was, I think it was a very underrated security blanket that any quarterback that we've had so many quarterbacks.
No TY back
but
there
any of our quarterbacks. Huh?
And no TY coming back. So you're going to have some guys fill in.
I don't know. I don't know if TY was a legit like mentor or coach or like locker room like entity like how some of the other big names were. I don't know. Maybe that's just perspective. But I kind of just wanted an old veteran receiver. Pay the dude fucking pennies on the dollar. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even. Did he get signed? I'm pretty sure he got signed.
Yeah, Julio is down in Tampa Bay.
Yep. So right now the Colts have Michael Pittman, Paris Campbell.
Hoping that they were going to go to.
Hang on, Torres. Go ahead, Evo.
Yep. So right now the Colts have Michael Pittman, who is outstanding. You've got Paris Campbell, and then Kiki Kuti, I believe is actually how you pronounce it, from the Texans. And he's an okay 3, maybe 4, probably more of a 4. Paris Campbell cannot stay healthy, which is his main thing. I think that he's got potential, but he just can't stay healthy. So we've never really been able to see what he can do. And after that, you have a whole bunch of Jags: Ashton Dolan, Mike Strachan, DeMichael Harris, Samson Nakua, DJ Montgomery. These guys, names that I don't know. Not saying that they can't break out or become something, but we jump over to the available free agents still out there. There is T.Y. Hilton still, but I wouldn't go that route unless you absolutely have to, because again, injury concerns and stuff like that. And he's definitely on that back half of his career. But you have guys like Will Fuller out there, who's still a burner. He can still catch the ball. He can stretch the field deep. And while Michael Pittman is able to be more of that mid-intermediate good possession guy, a Cole Beasley, like we talked about last week.
I like that idea a
Dallas.
lot. The
Cole Beasley is that good slot type receiver, and he's the grinder.
Yeah.
And then you have some older guys. I mean, you got Emmanuel Sanders, Alan Hearns, who is a little bit more one-dimensional. I don't know that you would go Deshaun Jackson, again, old and just that burner type, but I think you can get better production possibly out of Will Fuller. OBJ is still out there. I mean,
yeah, OBJ is still out there. However, there are reports that there might be a little bit of a connection with OBJ in Buffalo because of Von Miller.
Yeah, I have seen that where he's trying to get OBJ out there.
I don't know. It seems silly to have invested. Oh, fuck it. Is he still talking?
No, you're good.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so it seems silly that we had invested in Matty Ice, and we're like, hell yeah, we got a good quarterback, and you're like, fuck, no receivers. Who the fuck are you going to throw to? But I don't know. That's kind of what I was looking for an answer out of you guys, because you guys have a better understanding of football. Or how do you think Matty Ice is going to do? Not because he's good, but with what we have.
I think he'll do okay. I still think he'll do fine. I think Michael Pittman is going to turn into a stud. I would like to see a Cole Beasley there. I think Cole Beasley working out of the slot with Michael Pittman on the outside and a Mo Alley Cox working from that tight end spot gives you a nice little 1-2-3 combo. Gives you some nice, easy checkdowns. Mo Alley Cox is an absolute weapon in the red zone. And then Michael Pittman is going to be a stud, I think. I think he's a dude. So there are some options out there. Now, you may get a guy that pops here in camp that you guys want to go take a look at. But I think there is definitely still room to add a guy. But even without that, man, the defense is going to be fantastic. We know the running game is good. Matty Ice is a better quarterback than Carson Wentz. Like, if you guys got better quarterback play last year with the exact same group, you're in the playoffs.
And they got Rodrigo.
Yeah.
Rodrigo Blankenship at the kicking position.
That leads me to, that makes me happy, but that leads me to my next and predictable thing. I hope you have a beer around you.
I don't. Hang on. I hope producer Amber is watching.
I have maybe a quarter of a beer left, and this is the last beer in the house. It's Modelo time.
All right, hang on. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna make a quick run and go grab. I gotta do another seltzer though, but it's not nearly as carbonated, so this should be easier.
Yeah, and I know that Torres can't really hear me through the phone.
At Evo's lack of.
You can't really hear me through the phone here because there's this delay between us. So I'm going to try to not talk over him here. But I really like this Colts team a lot. I do think that we see an uptick in the passing game just because of Matty Ice being there. But he is a phenomenal game manager too, which means that he can.
Talking over you.
He's going to be able to help propel that offense more. I think you just bring in one more receiver, because between Michael Pittman and Kiki QT, you have a number 1 and a number 3/4. Paris Campbell, if he can stay healthy, he's also like a number 3. You bring in another guy, that's a proven NFL receiver like a Cole Beasley, or if you get a guy that's a little bit more one-dimensional like a Will Fuller, I think that rounds out the offense so much better. I mean, we've seen Matt Ryan produce without phenomenal star talent at receiver. He's had some okay guys down there in Atlanta, especially since Julio left, and he's still been able to produce. So I think with the guys that you have, he is still going to produce. You want to take it to a next level, you bring in at least one more guy. And we are going to have cut down day before too long where rosters get down to 53, and you are going to have some decent players out there, some young guys that you can go and you can poach.
Can you hear him now, or did something just magically happen? No, still the delay? Okay.
No, yeah, there's still a delay. I'm just trying to predict when he's going to stop talking.
Got it. All right. So I have I got my fancy little seltzer, a little High Noon, mango High Noon. These are fucking delicious, man.
I love High Noons. I do.
Dude,
really
they're
like
so good.
I can't do Truly. I can't do White Claw. I can't do any of that shit. But the High Noons,
I can do the White Claws. Trulies are too sweet now, but the High Noons are the class of the seltzer. Actually, our boy Nick Carnes huge High Noon fan. He calls him apparently High Boobs is his name, which I mean, I love boobs, all of them.
Yeah.
All boobs are good. Some boobs are great, but all of them are good.
I have no qualms with boobs.
Yeah. I'm not in that boat at all. I have a what is this?
IPA.
A
I was
White
gonna say he
Claw
doesn't like boobs.
Surge. No. I mean, it might as well be, but it's 8% alcohol, so this is gonna hurt. So I hope I at least win this one. So
Well,
on you, man.
I'm not shotgunning.
Ready?
I'm gonna just chug it again.
Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna chug that. I'm not shotgunning.
Yeah, I'm not shotgunning.
I think this is gonna hurt. I'm probably not gonna finish either.
Okay.
So
well,
on you, brother.
I'll finish
All right,
my eighth of a Modelo.
There you go. 3, 2, go.
Oh, you fucker! Was it? Oh, I didn't finish, but I'm done.
Me too. I did finish.
I finished my
You
Modelo.
won this one. Oh, that was awful.
Whew. Man, those mango ones are my favorite, and I just had
think
to chug
have
one of them.
Order left.
What were you drinking, Torres?
Anyway, White Claw Surge.
I have seen those, and I have stayed away from them. Anytime I hear Surge, I'm like, oh, that's gonna be just fuck me up. That's way too much caffeine and or alcohol or some form of.
I'm pretty sure it's both. Yeah.
It's like drinking Bud Light Platinums when they came out. You just drink a fucking 6-pack and get housed.
Exactly. But no, I appreciate you guys fucking having me on. And I'm gonna continue to tune in for the rest of it. But yeah, I will send you, not like the podcast, or actually no, I'm gonna put it in the Lineman Lounge. Some pictures of my daughter rocking Colts beanies, eating pizza, getting ready for this Colts game.
There we go.
Yeah.
Hey, listen,
less than an hour away.
Yeah, and this is a family show with gratuitous use of curse words. I got 3 kids. They support the podcast. They're always, are you doing the podcast today? So I get it. If you guys are watching, you got kids, post pictures of your kids in the lounge. Show them rocking that gear, enjoying football, because everybody in my house loves football. We are fucking all in. My youngest daughter's middle name is Baker, which, in retrospect, kind of sucks, but still a badass name in my opinion for a little girl. Little girl's middle name is Baker. Yeah. That's going to be very, very unique. She may catch some shit up here in Northeast Ohio for that when she gets older, but based on some of the things that we saw from the Browns and the Panthers, Baker may have been the correct option. So,
yeah.
But all right, man. Thanks for the call, and we're gonna dive back into the show.
All right, sounds good, brother.
All right, buddy.
Go Colts.
And there's our guy Torres. Oh, turn that way the fuck down now. Yeah. I love when Torres calls in, man. He always has really good questions for us. If you guys do want to call in, we can go ahead and toss up that phone number real quick. Phone number's down at the bottom, 520-338-9771. So, yeah, I love when people call in. I love when Torres calls in. I like drinking beer, and that's almost always guaranteed to happen every time Torres calls in. Big Colts guy, pretty knowledgeable about the game. Maybe not quite as much as we are in terms of the analytics and some of those things, but he follows the game well. He asks good questions. I like that shit because it lets us dive deep into the stuff that we love, the stuff that we know. So shout out to Torres for calling in and, bringing some heat.
Well, I mean, a big part of this show, I believe, when you started it off, was that we would have these work conversations where it's just we would talk about whoever's team, whatever they're thinking with their team, and bullshit around the table at work.
Right.
And so while we can go over every single game here, it's more fun to have people call and talk about their situation and for us to bullshit about that situation, give our 2 cents, give everyone's 2 cents, and let those opinions fly, whether they're right or wrong. So that's a big part of, I think, why we both like to do this is, hey, it's our ability to stand up on the podium and shit talk a little bit or throw out some opinions.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. That was for sure. When I started this, it was like, I know I love sports. I love talking sports. I get to take this, this passion and bring it to a mic. And then when I, added you to the show, added the video element, and adds a whole new aspect to that. And then every time we get callers, we get that additional thing, makes it more fun. So guys, thank you for the support. Thanks for the calls, Torres. Anybody else who wants to call in? We had a random call in a couple weeks ago. That was also very, very cool from everybody sitting at work. So yeah, keep them coming. We'll leave that phone number up there on the bottom. Anybody who wants to call in and bullshit with your boys, ask questions about their favorite teams, and we'll give you 2 dummy thick idiot opinions.
Absolutely. So getting back to preseason football, I have not watched a single game yet. I've been at work every night when these games are going on. I'm doing the pod right now while games are going on. So I haven't gotten really to watch anything yet. Hopefully I get the opportunity to watch my Vikings tomorrow. Right. However, I've kind of tried to stay in tune with what's going on. I've had them in an earbud listening while I'm at work and stuff like that, but it's not the same as actually having the eye test on these players, because that's really what the preseason is for me, is being able to watch and see the eye test on certain players and how they're popping. So starting off, we had the Giants and the Patriots. Giants won 23-21. Again, disclaimer, it's preseason. Win-loss record doesn't really matter. But it seemed like it was kind of more the same from the Patriots, from what I understood, where they're kind of running that normal Bill Belichick type game. I did like that Bailey Zappi went out there and started the game for the Patriots and put up pretty decent numbers for a lower drafted rookie. But got a guy that was known for having a big arm. He was 1932, 205 yards and a touchdown. And that's kind of what I expected to see out of him, was
he can sling it.
Transition into a backup quarterback that you're not going to feel absolutely horrible if he has to go out there and play a game or two for you.
Yeah, and he's your prototypical Bill Belichick guy. Fucking slow white guy who has a decent arm and knows, understands the game and can have command of a huddle and go out there and execute. You're not going to be a flash. You're just going to get steady, constant play. That's the things that we talked about with Bailey Zappi when he was coming out. He's not going to wow anybody. It's the same thing they had with Tom Brady for a long time. It's the same thing they have with Mac Jones. It's the same thing they have with Bailey Zappi. It's the same thing they had with Jacoby Brissett. It's the same thing they had with fucking Garoppolo. They have a formula. They have a recipe for what they want, and he perfectly fits there. Now, I don't think he will ever turn into a starter in this league, but he could be definitely in the mold of a Colt McCoy who hangs around the league for forever and fucking is a quality backup.
He can be that high volume passer, and Bill will mold him into a game manager.
Yeah.
So he's a game manager, strong arm, who can be a high volume passer if he needs to be. He's not going to be the guy that goes out there and throws insane Patrick Mahomes passes or anything like that. But he's a high volume passer, and as long as he becomes that game manager, he'll be a mid to top end backup quarterback.
Yeah.
That's perfect for him.
And you're going to have a fucking fantastic career. Ask a Colt McCoy, ask a fucking Fitzmagic. Like you can do very well for yourself and be loved across the entire NFL by being that guy. You'll never be out of a job if you're that guy. So right. I do worry that this Patriots offense is going to really struggle, though.
Yeah, I don't know. They've got a lot of receivers, but no receivers that really stand out.
They don't have a 1. They have mid-tier 2s. And they don't have an offensive play. Well, they have an offensive play caller, kind of, but no offensive coordinator. They don't have a direction. That worries me. I didn't think it would. I thought Bill would figure it the fuck out because he's Bill. Bill can do whatever he wants, and it's as good as fucking gold. Everything he touches is like Midas's touch. But I am a little worried about this offense. They just lost, James White, right, to retirement?
Yes.
So that running back room is getting a little thin. A room that they typically have 4 guys in, and every single one of them will fucking see the ball on any given week. They're going to have to be very dynamic, very multiple, and change things up week to week, different game plans, because right now they don't have a guy. They don't have a stud who can go out there and just, win a one-on-one matchup. And Mac Jones loved the guy. I thought he was going to be the number 3 pick. I think he's very accurate with the ball, but he's not going to wow you, and he's not going to threaten you with his legs. They're going to be very vanilla on offense, especially to start the year. That defense is going to have to be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, other than Devontae Parker, the names out there, I mean,
is Devontae Parker a 1 though? I mean,
he's not in my opinion. He's going to be their number 1, but he's not a number 1 in my opinion. I mean, you got Christian Wilkerson, Lil Jordan Humphrey.
Those are 2s and 3s at best.
And a Trey Nixon who, you know, had himself a good game, 4 catches, 81 yards. You don't have anyone that's really standing out. I mean, that's been a thing for the Patriots, though, is that they are strong defense, game management, offense that
just fucking roll out 4 running backs and figure that out.
Yeah. They are really good at fitting a square peg into a round hole, and that's because of Belichick. So, you know, we'll see. I too am very tepid, honestly, on this team. Not just the offense. But at the end of the day, it's like you don't discount Tom Brady, you don't discount Michael Jordan, you don't discount Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
And what
can't bet against him.
Yeah.
He's proven me wrong countless fucking times. So I can't bet against him, but I am concerned for them.
Yep. Now,
I shouldn't be, because fuck the Patriots. They're like the Yankees of football.
Yeah, for sure. And then on the flip side, you have the Giants, who, you know, Daboll's coming in there. They're seeing if he can resurrect Daniel Jones's career, if Danny Dimes has what it takes. Danny Dimes went out 6 for 10, 69 yards, nothing spectacular.
And he didn't even look good doing it.
But I mean,
I went back and watched, and he didn't look good doing it.
They got Tyrod Taylor there.
I think Tyrod is gonna start a couple games.
I think that he might start more than a couple. I think Daniel Jones is going to get
benched
4 to 6 games, but then once the season is really starting to get lost, then they're probably going to go with Tyrod.
Yeah, and they're going to have to really depend on the legs of Saquon. Saquon's going to have a massive bounce back year, but you and I both. And I feel like we are in a very, very small minority. I don't think Saquon is a dude. I think he is a serviceable running back. I do not believe that Saquon is a guy that you can hand the ball to 30 times a game, give him 30, 35 touches, and he'll go win you a game. I don't. I know he's very athletic. I don't know that his body can hold up to that. He's becoming Todd Gurley without the explosiveness, where man,
like, could have been a great career type thing, but then injuries and things like that derail you, and before you know it, you're a running back, and when you're 4 or 5 years in, sometimes your career just starts to point downwards.
Yeah, and I feel bad for Saquon, because he looked like he was going to be an absolute stud. When his first year, he looked fantastic. I was like, man, this dude's got it. Like, he has juice. And then I don't know if it's the Giants organization, if the amount of carries caught up to him, because he had a massive usage in college. He was 400 touches a year for 3 years in college. That shit catches up to you very, very quickly as a running back.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a ton of touches his rookie year. And now he's not going to be able to carry. He's not going to have that many touches. If he carries the ball 300 times, he's fucked. If he touches it fucking 350 times with catches, his body is not going to hold up to that anymore, because he was used so aggressively at Penn State and his rookie year.
Yeah.
So,
anything else that you want to talk about with that game before we move on to our other?
No, I'm good on that. I mean, we hit enough on that. It's preseason, so we don't need to diatribe on each one.
All right, so next we had the Tennessee Titans and Baltimore Ravens playing. The Baltimore Ravens won 23-10. And some interesting stuff from here. We saw Malik Willis go out there for the Titans and play. He went 6 of 11 for 107 yards with a 9.7 average. No touchdowns, no interceptions, but he was pulled by Mike Vrabel because he was running the ball too much. His rushing line was 5 rushes, 38 yards, 7.6 yard average, and a touchdown. And that's kind of what we expected Malik Willis to be, is that he's a dual threat type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, can that arm compete on this professional level because he was playing against lower talent.
Yeah.
And I think that his stat line shows that he can at least be serviceable. I think that he actually might be way closer to a Jalen Hurts than I might have previously expected, where it is going to have to be much more so 50-50 with him, where if the passing game ain't working, let's just run the ball with everybody.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I saw too. Like, so when we were talking about our pre-draft stuff, we thought Malik Willis had the highest upside, right? But he could also have the lowest floor. So I went back, watched. He does not look confident right now at all. It looks like he's a little slow to process. And he's more than willing to escape the pocket at any moment because he is very athletic. But he's not as athletic as a Lamar Jackson. So I don't know that he can keep that up. I think he is in that realm of a Jalen Hurts. I don't know that he'll ever be a great passer. Now, he had one pass that absolutely just insane. Flipped his hips, terrible arm angle, fucking side-armed, and got it out to the tight end. Tight end got a first down. It's a highlight play. Everybody's like, oh my God, look at what fucking Malik can do. That shit doesn't happen all the time. Malik has to get better with his progressions, his reads, trusting his eyes, stepping back, and making a throw. Now, pocket presence looked pretty good. He was able to escape. There were a couple times where he escaped when he didn't have to, though. And I think he was trying to out-athlete a professional fucking athletes. And that's not going to happen. Like, you have to be so superior of an athlete to do that. Lamar Jackson can do that because Lamar Jackson, basically every time he walks on the field, is the best athlete on the field. I don't think that Malik is that guy. He is definitely more in the realm of a Jalen Hurts, where he's going to have to take his chunks. He's going to have to be in the right system. Now, I think that Tennessee Titans system can work for him, especially if they continue to keep Derrick Henry there. But he's going to have to mature a little bit, and this is kind of what we talked about. He's not there yet. He's not a finished product. He's going to need time to grow. There's a reason he was not a first-round pick.
Yeah.
Wasn't the second quarterback off the board. Wasn't the fucking third quarterback off the board, was he? I think it was, what, fourth or fifth quarterback off the board.
It was third or fifth, yeah. We had Pickett, Des Ridder.
And then Sam Howell went before him too, right?
Maybe.
I think Howell went before him as well.
So,
but like, this is... He needs to continue to grow. There were some flashes where he looked really good, but there were also some things that concerned me, especially with his progressions, his confidence in his eyes was something that I noticed. And I think that's why Vrabel pulled him, is because he wouldn't throw the ball. He wasn't confident in the things that he saw, so he escaped and ran.
See, and I'm going to be, I guess, a little bit hard on Vrabel here. I think
he's a rookie, though.
I think you leave him out there, okay? You don't have to worry about him playing in the regular season this year, barring injury. You have Tannehill, all right? But there's a reason why you brought this guy in. It's because Tannehill isn't the answer. Tannehill is not getting you through the playoffs. He doesn't. I think Kirk Cousins is a better quarterback than Tannehill and can take you further in the playoffs. But that's that same sort of thing where it's like they don't have that shine that's going to just pull your team up by the bootstraps and win you games. He just doesn't. Whereas Malik Willis has the ability to have some special plays now and then where he can maybe put something together special and get you, a win. If I'm the Titans, I feel okay about Malik Willis because he's a rookie. He's going to get to sit all year. He's going to get to learn, even if Tannehill doesn't want to be a mentor to him. But
do you want Tannehill to be a mentor to him?
I mean, not with the attitude that he had initially. Now, look, a veteran is always going to be good if they're willing to show the ropes to a.
There's plenty of veterans out there who are not going to have that shitty attitude, though.
For sure. But look, Malik Willis showed that he can throw the ball some, and then after a year of professional coaching, he might actually have a little bit of something, maybe as good, if not better, than Jalen Hurts' arm talent come next year. He's not going to be thrown right into the ring. And he's also got the legs to make some plays happen. I think Vrabel doesn't want his quarterback to be as multidimensional as that. He wants more of a traditional pocket presence quarterback. a la his time in New England.
Yeah.
I think that's what he wants.
But he's got a guy in Tannehill that can be multiple and can do things with his legs.
He has been way less of that though since coming to Tennessee compared to Miami, because I think the system calls for it. If Vrabel has a guy that is able to do that, they should probably start to cater the playbook in order to allow for that a little bit more. That's got to be his perspective on the future if they want to win and keep up with the today's modern NFL. They also brought in a guy there in Tennessee to replace A.J. Brown, Treylon Burks. All right, and Treylon Burks didn't have himself a night at all. He was supposed to be that multi-dimensional.
Who said that Treylon Burks looked like he was a fucking hardcore bust? Reminds me a shitload of Laquan Treadwell. Almost the identical fucking player.
Well, they said Treylon Burks might have that Deebo Samuel's capability, right?
No,
to be able to do
he is Laquan. He is Laquan Treadwell.
So Treylon Burks had 1 rush for 4 yards and 0 targets on the night.
He doesn't separate.
He's supposed to be that replacement for A.J. Brown.
He doesn't separate.
Not going to happen.
It's absolutely not going to happen. I was very hard on Treylon Burks during the draft process, and I got I was hopping in spaces of people out here in Cleveland, and I'm like, no, fucking anybody but Treylon Burks. Give me a fucking receiver, any of them but Treylon Burks. When we had 1st round picks, he cannot separate. He is a gadget guy, but it has to be fucking perfect. He does not win routes. He played bully ball in college because he was bigger than every fucking corner he went against. And that's not going to happen in the NFL. If Jalen Ramsey lined up against Treylon Burks, Jalen Ramsey would pick him up and put his dick in the dirt. You're not going to do that in the NFL. He's not the guy. And I'm sorry for Titans fans, but I'm very, very glad. Well, I'm not glad that we didn't have a 1st round pick based on our game, but I'm really glad that we didn't go and stand pat and go get a Treylon Burks, because I already know who the best fucking rookie receiver is going to be. I've watched all the camp. I called it myself in the draft process. Sky Moore is going to be fucking legit, dude. He's a stud.
All right, well, we'll get into that because he's
offensive
playing right
rookie
now.
of the year. Yes, he is.
On the other side of the ball, Baltimore did not trot out Lamar Jackson. They trotted out who I think is quite possibly one of the best backup quarterbacks in the league, and a guy that has potential to be a fringe starter realistically in Tyler Huntley. We saw this last year. Tyler Huntley went out and performed when Lamar Jackson wasn't playing. Tyler Huntley goes out 16 of 18, 109 yards, not a huge average of 6.1 yards, but he's out there. He's consistent. He's completing passes. And then he also has the ability to run too. He rushed 3 times for 17 yards. All right.
I think he's a better passer than Lamar.
Oh,
he's not as athletic. He's not as athletic, but he's athletic enough to run that system.
Absolutely. And then you have Anthony Brown coming in behind him, 10 of 15, 117 yards. So you've got 2 guys that are backups there. If one of those guys somehow doesn't make the roster, I'm banging the table for my Vikings to go out and get him, because right now I don't think that we have a good backup quarterback on the roster.
Oh, you guys are awful behind fucking Kirk Cousins.
And we'll get into that, I'm sure, a little bit here for my Vikings. But both of those guys are showing that they can be very good backup quarterbacks in the league, possibly as good, if not better, passers than Lamar Jackson. They're not going to have the athletic dynamics of Lamar Jackson, but look.
But Huntley is very, very athletic. Huntley is very athletic. You know where Huntley starts immediately and probably gets signed to a pretty decent deal?
Don't say the
Seattle.
Cleveland Browns.
No, well, yeah, the Cleveland Browns maybe.
Probably Seattle. They need
Seattle. He fucking starts in Seattle tomorrow, and there's not a quarterback competition. Geno is cut, and they keep fucking Drew Lock as a backup developmental guy in the mold of a Josh Rosen type, who has some arm talent and just can't get things figured out right. So, yeah, Brett Huntley is going to stick around the league for a long time, especially as the league evolves into this Okay, so we need a guy who's a little more dynamic, who can
Tyler-
run and do some other things.
Tyler Huntley, Brett Hundley, also on the roster for the Ravens, also 2 for 2 for 42 yards.
Okay, so now I'm gonna get confused.
Yes.
So Tyler Huntley and
Brett Hundley was the former
UCLA and Green Bay, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I believe he's jumped around a little bit. Hundley has.
Yeah.
Tyler Huntley, I believe, was a rookie last year. Only been with the Ravens.
Yeah, so I fucked that up last year. I was confusing who the fuck was who last year. So I'm probably, if they're on the same squad, I'm definitely going to do it this year.
Yeah. And I don't expect them to keep 4 quarterbacks on the roster. So, and realistically, Anthony Brown, the way that he performed, and Tyler Huntley, the way that he performed, I expect both of them to probably be rostered behind Lamar Jackson, just because Lamar Jackson and the style of ball that he plays provides opportunity for injury.
Well, Tyler is absolutely the backup. And then Brent is not going to be eligible for practice squad. So
they do have the practice squad thing still, I believe, where you can put some veterans on there. Yep. And Anthony Brown is the Oregon rookie. So
that it could be a great practice. I mean, Oregon rookie UDFA, right?
I'm not sure.
If he's a UDFA, he's definitely, that's a practice squad. Got written all over it.
Yeah, for sure. Either way, some decent quarterback play there from the Ravens, and it's going to start to bring in the question: Lamar Jackson's contract.
How much do we want to pay Lamar Jackson? Because can you be competitive without dumping $250 million into your quarterback because of the system that you run?
This is the thing: is that Lamar Jackson? No one's going to say that he isn't an incredible talent. But
oh my God,
is he going to be worth the money that he's going to command as a quarterback? He is their offense. Lamar Jackson is their offense, but I don't know, man. Me personally, it's tough to say because I'm not a Ravens fan and I'm not in that position, but it's almost like, how do I find a way to trade this guy and pick up multiple first round picks?
If I, as a non-Ravens fan, as a Ravens hater, I hope they give Lamar Jackson $250 million. Guaranteed. That's what I hope for. Because, don't get me wrong, it doesn't matter what football field he steps on. He's the most athletic guy that's stepping on the field. Said it earlier. I'll say it again. He is the best athlete in the NFL, probably. I don't know, with the exception of maybe
Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald's a freak specimen.
Yes. Other than that, but there are two different types.
Different types of athleticism.
Yeah. So it's Lamar Jackson. He's the best athlete in the NFL in that realm of athleticism. But can I win and make my team more dynamic with Brent Hundley with a couple of years of grooming?
With Tyler Huntley.
God damn it. Yeah, with Tyler Huntley.
Not Brett Hundley.
Brent Hundley. God damn it. I knew
I'm not a fan.
Yeah. Tyler Huntley. Yeah. Yes, I think I can.
I think you probably can. But you have like one star on that team that people really, really latch around, and that's Lamar Jackson. You are losing the face of your franchise if you let him go. So I don't expect them to let him go.
No, they won't. They can't trade. They can't do it. They can't trade him.
Yeah. So
now, don't get me wrong. They would get a fucking haul for him.
Yeah.
They get at least 3 1s.
I think you probably
to the right
can get
suitor.
Yeah, I think you can probably get that, especially when Deshaun Watson gets what he gets.
3 1s, yeah.
So I don't know. It'll be interesting. This is going to make for an interesting year, I guess, to see how the Ravens want to attack this situation. I fully expect them to sign him. I fully expect them to give him a monstrous deal. And I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be the right answer for that team going forward.
I don't think it is, but I'm all for it. 250 guaranteed, fully guaranteed. 250. Let's do it. Come on, Ravens. Bury yourself under the cap.
Yeah, might happen. All right, so we can look at some other games. That was our Thursday games. Moving on to our Friday games, the Falcons and the Lions play, and the Lions did lose 23-27. However, this was a very much so a back and forth game, very close, and it just came out to who scored last. Jared Goff goes out 3 for 4, 47 yards, which is not bad for 3 passes. You're
fucking looking at what, 12 yards a pop?
Just under 12 yards a pop.
Yeah.
And they do, like, I don't think that they have a standalone number one receiver on that team right now because their rookie is injured, not going to be ready for week 1. But
Equanimous is, man, he's gonna be very nice again, especially once fucking what the hell's his name? I just got not Jalen.
So not Equanimous St. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
God damn it, man.
Equanimous
I am fucking names up all sorts today.
Equanimous is now with the Bears, staying in the NFC North. But Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's that surprise. He was their number one last year, and he's the surprise guy where no one expected him to fit in that role. He's going to be an outstanding number 2, and he'll fill the role of that number 1 as needed. They also have Khalif Raymond. Khalif Raymond, I think, is underrated. He might not be a number 1, number 2 type guy, but I think he's underrated. And then you've got a rookie lying in wait who's going to come on at some point in time. Maybe it's not this year, but I think he's going to be phenomenal going forward.
He's so fucking fast. He's so impossibly fast. I wish that he could have ran it at the fucking combine. He'd have run 4.24. He'd have been contending. He'd have been contending for the fucking record. He's so fucking fast.
And so it'll be interesting to see what, again, we talked a lot already about this Lions team. I'm interested because the guy that I really liked or really followed through the college football year last year, Des Ridder, got drafted by the Falcons. I think that he's kind of that perfect fit to go behind Mariota and learn. And he actually had himself a pretty good day for a mid-round rookie. I mean, passing wise, 10 to 22, 103 yards and 2 touchdowns. You can't complain about 2 touchdowns. But then on the ground, he had 6 rushes for 59 yards as well.
We've always known that he was athletic. They just didn't use it at Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm. And so I say we because I mean literally you and I. A lot of people thought that he just didn't have that. He's always had that in his game. We talked about how the Cincinnati offense didn't cater to allowing some of those skills to be on display. I think Mariota is a great guy to sit behind. However, I think Mariota is going to play pretty well. Yeah, I fully expect Mariota to start most of the year, if not the entire year. If the Falcons somehow are no longer in the hunt in the last quarter of the season, then I think you can possibly start to see Ridder go out there and get a little bit more seasoning. But for a first preseason game, and you've got less than two weeks of training camp under your belt, learning an NFL system and stuff like that. Not a horrible showing for him by any means.
No,
Drake
I'd like to see that completion percentage tick up a little bit, but I think that will come.
Absolutely.
As soon as you start to understand the concepts and what you're actually seeing on a defense, that'll tick up.
Absolutely. And then you've got, and Mariota did play. He was 2 for 2, 36 yards. He also had some rushes, 3 rushes, 23 yards. So it does look like they are going to have an offense that is catered towards being able to do everything.
And they have guys that are dynamic that can help with that. Like a Cordell Patterson next to a Marcus Mariota can be kind of a dangerous combination. Now, they're both a little older. They're not quite as athletic as they once were, but that can be a very interesting situation. I worry about their receivers on the outside because Gage is gone, right?
I believe so.
Not Russell Gage.
I believe so.
I think Russell Gage is gone, and then their number 1 is suspended.
Yeah, suspended. And you did go out and get yourself Drake London. Now, he hurt his knee. They don't expect it to be serious, but he did have 1 catch for 24 yards.
Well, I know I wasn't. I don't remember if you were or not. I'm not a Drake London guy.
I'm not a big Drake London guy. I'm more on him than like a Traylon Burks, but I think that he has a ceiling of a Mike Evans maybe, but I don't
expect
him to reach
ceiling.
I don't expect him to reach that. That's why he was taken where he was taken. He was, taken very high.
Yeah.
And that's what they're hoping out of him. I don't know that he gets there. But I mean, you do still have some other decent receivers there, and like a Geronimo Allison, a name that, I remember from when he played with the Packers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I know that he is a capable 2-3. Demir Bird, he goes out there and gets you a couple catches every game. Having the type of players that they have, it is going to be a stark contrast from the Matt Ryan led Falcons team. But you got to work with what you got. And they went out there intentionally, got themselves Mariota, knowing who he was and the type of player that he was. Mm-hmm. And they're adjusting to it. Like, I think that the Titans might need to, talking about that earlier, you need to adjust for the players that you have and change your system to fit with the current modern NFL. I think that Des Ridder could fit like that for him. It's not about this year so much for him. It's about next year.
And I'm not even sure Des starts next year because Mariota is not that old that he can't continue to compete for starting spots.
Sure.
Maybe it's 2 years down the line.
Yeah.
And possible. I think that's okay still. In the modern NFL, it's obviously changed quite a bit that people don't want you to wait for that long, but it can still be done. That you can sit 2 years. I mean, that's what Green Bay is hoping for in Jordan Love. That's what Aaron did behind Brett. It can still be done, but it's going to be, I think it'll be a harder sell for fans to make him wait that long. But Mariota, I think, can still play. He's never going to be the big arm prototypical pocket passer. But if you have some dynamic weapons around him, I think he could be serviceable.
Yeah. And look, at the end of the day, the Falcons won this game because of a late touchdown pass from Des Ridder. He threw himself like a 30-something yard touchdown in the end zone to seal the game. So if you're already making those sorts of plays and stuff like that, obviously you're coming from a Cincinnati team that was very good last year, and he's kind of used to some of that spotlight. I was worried about Des Ridder by the end of the year, but I thought that he has incredible physical talent, and if he's able to put it all together on the field underneath a pro offense, that he could actually be a top 15 quarterback in this league. It's going to take him a little bit, and that's fine. Like you said, they got Mariota.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to take a piss, and then if you want to go ahead and start prefacing the next game, unless you got anything else on this one.
Yeah, I'll jump into the next game. It just won't be the next game on my list here because that's the Browns game. I'll wait for that. I don't want
to do that yet.
So we've got the Cardinals and the Bengals. The Cardinals ended up winning this game 36-23. You didn't see any Kyler Murray out there playing in the game. However, apparently he did actually coach or call the plays on 2 of the drives. And Mike and I were talking about this before the show. Is this the way for the Cardinals and their PR team and Kyler's PR team to be able to say, like, oh, it's the studying issue was never really an issue. It just kind of was a faux pas on our part, because obviously he knows what he's doing. He's calling plays. I don't know. Either way, Trace McSorley goes out 13-22. 163 yards and a touchdown. So good showing from Trace McSorley. He's obviously going to be their primary backup to Kyler. And I think you can feel okay with him going out there if he has to play a game or two, because Kyler is susceptible to injuries with his style of play. He also had 4 rushes, 32 yards. This is Trace McSorley, the former Ravens backup quarterback. So he still has that kind of dual threat ability, but a pretty decent game from Trace McSorley out there. And then it'll just be kind of an issue of the receiving options there in Arizona. Obviously they were able to put it together against the Bengals. It's preseason score. The record doesn't count, but a decent showing from them. And honestly, I don't know how Kyler did calling those 2 drives. But it is a little bit interesting. While you were gone, Mike talked about how Kyler called the 2 drives. Trace McSorley had himself a decent game there. The former Ravens backup. Did you get to watch this game?
This is a game I did not pay too much attention to. I knew Kyler wasn't going to do much. I mean, I'm surprised they let him call plays. We talked about this a little bit. Maybe that's a narrative. They're trying to change the narrative. Kyler knows the offense. He watches film. He can call our offense for us. He's so in tune with what we're doing. But I didn't pay a lot of attention to what happened in Arizona. So I don't have too many things to say other than I feel like they were trying to shoehorn Kyler into this position to kind of kill that fucking narrative about him not watching film and knowing what the hell's going on.
Yeah. And then you had Cincinnati. Obviously, they're not going to roll out there with their
They didn't
starting
trot
quarterback.
anybody out there, did they?
No, not really. But they did show, their backup quarterback, Brandon Allen, 3 for 3, 29 yards. Drew Plitt, excuse me. I don't honestly know who he is, but he was 6 for 6, 76 yards and a touchdown. So not a bad showing there.
Probably playing against 3s and 4s though. So
a name that I know, Jake Browning. He was a UDFA for the Vikings coming out of Washington. Guy that I kind of liked.
He had an arm though, didn't he? Or was that a different guy?
You're thinking of the former Colts backup. Jake Browning followed him and still looked all right. He never really amounted to anything with the Vikings other than our third or fourth stringer. And he apparently is with Cincinnati. He was 13 and 24, so not a great completion percentage, but 190 yards. So high volume out there. He's one of those guys that's going to be a practice squad or, possibly out there free agent. I don't think he's making the 53 at this point, but another guy that if you need a body who can throw some balls, Jake Browning is capable of doing that. I think, again, Jake Browning might be better than what the Vikings currently have on the roster. So it's one of those things that I'm kind of paying attention to. The only problem with Jake Browning is that, he did rush 4 times, 14 yards, but he had 3 fumbles and only lost one of them, but 3 fumbles. So he has a little bit of an issue
ball security
issue to the ball. And then the other name that kind of pops at me is Thaddeus Moss, the son of Randy Moss, tight end. He's going to be a number 2, number 3 tight end out there in the league. He might not even make the roster for the Bengals this year because he's kind of bounced around since coming in as a UDFA.
TJ Houshmandzadeh out to the Jets, so he has a chance to hang on as a number 3.
Who?
And TJ Houshmandzadeh. Now, Jesus Christ.
Man,
I'm just fucking names up all day. I'm going old school too.
Hoosh hasn't played in a while.
DJ Uzama. Holy fuck. TJ Houshmandzadeh.
Oh, boy.
Torres is not allowed to call anymore.
But Thad Moss goes out there, 3 catches, 29 yards. I'm always pulling for the Mosses. I'm big Randy Moss fan. So, and he's someone that I always wanted the Vikings to go out and get him just because I like that legacy player type thing. But he's definitely a backup, 2nd or 3rd tight end. So
profiles as a 3.
I mean, when you play at LSU and that type of offense that they had while he was there, he did well for them. But to go undrafted and still be bouncing around the league, I think this is probably like his 3rd team at least since he's come in the league in like 2 or 3 years. So I don't know. He might be able to make the roster there. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, Cincinnati they're a conundrum right now for me. I don't know if they can repeat and do what they did last year. I really don't. I saw a question posed on Twitter. What's more likely, the Bengals miss the playoffs or the Steelers finish over 500? Based on some of the things that have happened and things that have come out of camp. And camp reports in Pittsburgh are not good about their quarterback play. And I still think the Steelers have a chance to finish 500 more than the Bengals have a chance to repeat. Joe Burrow's a stud. He's a dude. That defense started playing out of their mind at the end of the year, and I don't know why or how they did it. I still don't get it. Eli Apple is fucking burnt toast on any given play. You can just target him the entire game. So I don't know. They could be very good again. Joe Mixon's still a stud. The offensive line is going to be drastically improved. Joe Burrow is a future MVP, in my opinion. He's got it. He has everything you want from a quarterback, and they have fantastic weapons. So I don't know. The backup quarterback's not going to really matter. They didn't try hardly any of their starters out there, so I don't know what to think about the Bengals or their backups because their backups are not important to me unless something happens to Joe, which I hope doesn't because he's a future star in this league.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're still going to be a very good team. I think that they definitely struck lightning last year, and I don't know. I still think that they make the playoffs. Do they repeat and go to the Super Bowl? No, probably
No.
not. Not
No
with the
way.
AFC this year. But I mean, I guess their biggest problem was their offensive line, and they did what they needed to address that. So
Yeah, but man, the AFC North is going to be pretty good, I think, with the exception of the Steelers. And we'll see what kind of quarterback play the Browns get. The Ravens are going to be very good. The AFC West is getting 3 playoff teams. The Colts are going to be fantastic, I think. The Titans are going to be really fucking good too. The Titans are going to be good because Derrick Henry and they play good defense. They have hopefully improved that secondary, which was awful last year. So it's going to be tough for the Bengals. I think it might come down to Browns, Bengals, and who's getting decent quarterback play, which, we have no idea what the fuck's going to happen here. Josh Rosen may make the fucking roster for us.
That's scary to think about.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
I mean, I guess we can kind of just roll straight into that.
Yeah, because we have not talked about that game yet that happened yesterday. So
yeah, so Browns and the Jaguars. Jaguars have their second preseason game going up against
they played
the Browns
a lot
here.
of starters to start that in that first quarter. I was able to catch that first quarter, and I wish I had a bottle of liquor.
Yep. So Deshaun Watson does go out. He's 1 for 5 for 7 yards. So he's already showing his value in the trade so far. Josh Dobbs went out and had himself a decent night, 10-13, 108 yards and a touchdown. It's what you kind of expect from Josh Dobbs, at least.
He's a pro, classic backup. Go in there and be serviceable.
Yeah. And we didn't see Brissett. So it'll be interesting to see how he performs going forward, because I believe you said Brissett is going to be slated here as a starter for at least the next preseason game, if not the rest.
Yeah, so I believe he's going to start the rest of the preseason games. And there was a report that came out on ESPN. I got on my phone. He is expected to get the bulk of first team reps with the Browns for the rest of training camp. So they are fully preparing for at least the first 6 games. With Brissett, they have to start preparing for the season. We saw what Deshaun did. It wasn't fucking good. You could see that there were 586 days of rust that were built up. And the Browns have a lot of fucking question marks on offense. A ton of question marks at receiver and at quarterback. Tight end, we know who's going to play. And Njoku's still got to get better at blocking. He's getting better, but he's still got to get better. Offensive line, we had a lot of pre-snap penalties, which I didn't understand because we had our starters out there.
And that might come to bite you in the butt because your starting
Nick Harris,
center
our starting center is now out.
Probably down for the year, season-ending surgery.
Yeah. So we need to re-sign J.C. Treader. He's still out there for some fucking reason, even though he's one of the best centers in the league. Doesn't practice, but plays fantastically. We got to make a move there. I don't think that we will stay past what we got. I think we will see JC back in Browns camp probably in the next week or 2. JC doesn't practice, so he's not necessarily showing up to camp. He's still I believe the NFLPA's fucking president and does not have a job. And Deshaun did not perform well. And it sucks as a Browns fan. You're like, okay, so we've made this commitment. We have to do this, right? We have to be in on Deshaun to be good so our team can be good. Think what you want about the man. I have my own opinions, and they're not necessarily the highest of opinions. But I have to get behind him and support him. And last night did not help that situation at all. 1 for 5. Now, that 1 for 5 Not all on him. Anthony Schwartz couldn't catch a fucking cold in Antarctica. The dude's got bricks for fingers. He's a gadget guy. He was a gadget guy at Auburn. He did not catch a lot of passes. And most of the passes he did catch were around the line of scrimmage, and he beat people with speed. But he doesn't have a ton of wiggle. He's straight line speed, track speed. He had the potential to be an Olympic fucking athlete. That's how fast he is. 2 passes in his direction, right off his goddamn big old mitts. So some of that's not on Deshaun, but the command of the huddle and command of the offense did not look great. Guys were lined up in the wrong spots. He's trying to get them lined up, and it took a long fucking time for that to happen. The muff snap under center is worrisome because he's probably going to be under center more than he's ever been in his entire fucking life with the Browns, and that's Stefanski's scheme. I don't like seeing that. So it was not encouraging by that first unit. The second unit looked pretty good, though. Josh Dobbs played very, very well. He had command of the huddle, and like he did what he's supposed to do. He's a backup. He's a fucking pro's pro. He's been around the league a long time. Josh Rosen came in and looked pretty fucking good, too, against 3s and 4s, but Josh Rosen looked like he actually knew how to fucking play football in the NFL.
Yeah, 6 or 7, 56 yards, respectable line there.
And he's in
3 rushes for -3 yards.
Yeah, well, I mean, but Rosen's also in a system now where it's not dependent on him to be the guy, because you don't have to be the guy in this Stefanski system. We have so many other things that we could do. I was really excited about Jerome Ford. He looked fantastic, dude.
Yeah.
I really like what he can do, and it makes me think that Kareem Hunt is going to get traded and not get that contract extension that he's searching for.
Well, that was going to be my question, is Kareem Hunt, obviously requested that trade. And I don't remember if you've been banging the table before, but I've been saying, hey, if he's going to get traded, go to the Bills. That's Super Bowl lock.
Yeah. I mean,
even having the younger Cook. Even having the younger Cook brother out there in Buffalo now, don't put it all on his shoulders right away. Take a guy like Kareem Hunt, who is good receiving, good rushing, and I think that really locks things up for the Bills.
Yeah, I think it absolutely.
Then you can get a little bit of picks back.
Yeah, we're going to need him. I don't think we'll get more than a 3 for Kareem Hunt because running backs are not valued that high. But he's a starter on 22 teams in the NFL, probably, if not more. So, with the emergence of what Jerome Ford can do, catch, run out of the backfield, I think that we're not going to have Kareem Hunt for the season. That sucks. Nick Chubb has been banging the table for him to get a contract extension. I don't think it's going to happen. And then, honestly, it doesn't make a ton of sense to give that extension, especially with the money coming out next year on a contract that was just absolutely ridiculous for Deshaun. So, I mean, I saw some really good things. We got some young receivers that did some good stuff. We didn't see David Bell. He's still coming off the PUP. We didn't see Amari Cooper. I was not encouraged by what I saw from Deshaun. Looked very, very rusty. Something that it was to be expected after the 586-day layoff. And he's not going to get a ton of the first team reps now going forward in camp because they're moving forward Jacoby because they still feel like they can compete because this team ended up being a top 5 defense in the NFL last year towards the end of the year. We have a great offensive line. We have the best running back in the NFL. And I know people will debate me on that. You might even debate me on that. And Nick Chubb. We have a guy who can come in younger, cheaper than Kareem Hunt and Jerome Ford, who can do the same things. But yeah, I was not encouraged by what I saw from that first unit or Deshaun. So I am very, very worried. And I really wish this is a year that we had a first round pick because this is a great year to go out and get a quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, I think you got to lean into the positive stuff here, and that is that Jerome Ford looked phenomenal. I loved him coming out of Cincinnati, playing there with Ritter. He was the guy that when I was watching Ritter Ford jumped off the tape for me. So for you guys to go out and be able to get him when you already have a slew of fantastic running backs in Chubb, Hunt, Dearness, now you've just got another guy that gives you tons of flexibility here. I mean, Ford went out, his line was 10 rushes, 57 yards, and a touchdown. And he also led the receiving stat line with 4 receptions of 45 yards. Yeah. So the guy's showing that he can kind of do it all. And he's
a lot
cheap.
of wiggle. Yeah, he's very cheap.
So that means you can go ahead, and if Kareem really wants to be gone, you can send him somewhere, probably
afford to do that.
Pick up some decent picks for him, and you still have a 3-horse stable that you can feel very confident about, even if, say, Chubb were to go down. You still can feel confident in the running back room, and it gives you another pick or something like that to maybe go out and get a Garoppolo if Deshaun Watson's suspension goes further. I mean,
which has been now in conversations that the Browns would be willing to go out and get Garoppolo if Deshaun's suspension is increased. Now, I don't know what Jacoby has looked like in camp. I have not been down to camp. Still trying to find a way to get down there. I actually put it out on Twitter who's got tickets for sale so I can go down there and fucking watch some camp. Especially now that Jacoby's going to be getting most of the first team reps. I want to see what he's got. And yeah, but Garoppolo being on the table after it was reported that they're out, that's very telling. I would suspect that the decision is going to come down this week after seeing Deshaun out there. They can't continue to trot him out there, right?
I mean, the last thing I saw
NFL doesn't want him to see him out there.
The last thing that I saw was that the decision would not come Friday, so that way he could continue and play in this preseason game. Mm-hmm. And I think that now that that has come and gone, I would expect this week that we're going to start to hear something.
Yeah.
And as soon as you hear it, like if that ends up being, a full year plus, it might make sense. I mean, obviously Dobbs looked good, but Dobbs isn't a starter in the league. Brissett, I know you feel positive about him, but I don't think he's a starter in this league. Garoppolo can be a starter in this league. He's shown to be able to be a starter in this league, albeit unspectacular. Mm-hmm. He wins games. He does. And so if you're able to go out and get him for not having to pay an arm and a leg as far as picks, which is tough, but I mean, it's obvious the 49ers have kind of played their cards in that situation, so they can't.
Yeah, they can't hold on to him anymore.
They can't hold someone's feet to the fire that much. I mean, I think it's not a bad option to go out and do that. The best option probably would have been to stick with Baker this year and, let him show what he's got and use those picks that you still would have had to go after a quarterback. But I mean, that has come and gone.
That ship has fucking sailed.
It is no longer an option anymore. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And Baker looked decent today. Looked like he was confident again. Threw a couple darts. Now threw a couple not great balls, a little miscommunication on the offense. Because I did tune into that Panthers game because as much as the Browns fans are not going to want to talk about it, there's going to be a direct comparison to what Deshaun does and what Baker does. If Baker goes out and has a phenomenal game, Browns fans are going to say, well, I mean, when Deshaun gets here, when Deshaun plays, he's going to look better because he's a better player. But Deshaun's not playing. He's not going to play for at least 6 games. And we gave up a massive amount of money and picks for him. So that comparison will always be there. We have guys on the team who have some of those circumstances already. Jadeveon Clowney was close to being called a bust because of where he was drafted and the production that he created. If Deshaun doesn't go out and win a Super Bowl and perform at MVP levels, it's going to be a massive failure. And it will be directly compared to what Baker does. If Baker never makes a Pro Bowl, but is a serviceable player for the next 10 years, and Deshaun can't figure it out at $230 million guaranteed after a 586-day layoff, plus some coming for real game action, this is going to be the worst trade in the history of the NFL, and it will cause the front office to be fired. I've said it several times, but after seeing Deshaun play, that has to be a real concern. Now, I know it's preseason. I know it's been a long layoff. But we have to fucking call a spade at some point. We have to see massive production, especially if Baker is going to go to another team and start on a Panthers team that I think could make the fucking playoffs. So it's not a great scenario. I would love to see more of Deshaun and hopefully perform better. But we're not going to see that for a while. He's not going to get number one rep. He's going to get some number one reps. He will not get the majority. Jacoby will get those. So what happens when he's eligible to play again? Did we just toss him right in? Jacoby's got us at a decent record, and we toss our $230 million quarterback right the fuck back in, who hasn't played in real game action for a long goddamn time.
I mean, if Deshaun does not get suspended for the whole year, I'm sure it'll be the same situation where he'll probably get an increase in games. I know that he's come out and said he's willing to take a $5 million fine and an 8-game suspension up from what he currently has. I believe it'll be the same rules where basically halfway through that suspension, you are eligible to be back out on the practice field. So he's going to have weeks of practice in addition to this training camp that he's already going through. Hopefully that will be enough for him to get back into kind of game mode. Because again, like I'm sure he's done kind of outside of the building practice and stuff like that, but it's not the same as being with the team in the system, stuff like that. And training camp has only been going on for a couple weeks. So, and he obviously has a lot of other shit going on in life than just focusing on football. So, you know, playing devil's advocate here, the guy needs time and he's going to have a lot of time to get this playbook down and try to get himself back in football shape. So, you know, obviously we're not going to, you know, close the book just yet on what's going on.
No, not a good showing. That either.
Not a good showing from him in the first preseason game. However, this is preseason. This is where you're supposed to work out those kinks. And that's a little play on words.
And stop throwing the ball to fucking Anthony Schwartz because he can't catch.
True.
All right. And Browns fans are enamored by this guy's speed. Like, I get it. He's fast. He's fast as fuck. He's Olympic fast. Can't catch. What do you do with that? You run fucking reverses with him. He's a Tavon Austin without the wiggle. Like, DPJ needs to really step up. We got some young guys, undrafted free agent out of Michigan that we need to see step up. Bell needs to get back into camp, coming off the PUP. And really, we got to get behind Jacoby because it's going to be Jacoby for a while now. And
barring a Garoppolo trade.
Barring a Garoppolo trade. But we got to hunker down, boys, because it's gonna be tough to start, I think. And we have a very easy schedule to start the season. We have to go at least 500 in the games that Deshaun is not there. But Deshaun needs to start inspiring some confidence in when he does get out there that he's going to be Deshaun Watson of old. But you look at any quarterback that's missed that much time. I mean, Michael Vick wasn't the same Michael Vick when he had his off-field things. He was still very dynamic, but he wasn't the same Michael Vick. When you have that big of a layoff, there's going to be a drop-off in your play. And people around here don't necessarily want to admit that yet. They think that we've struck gold. We finally have a franchise guy. And nothing that I have seen so far has proven that he is that franchise guy yet. So I don't want to bury him. I'm not off of Deshaun yet and his possibility to play well. But I'm also not saying that he's the next coming of Bernie Kosar out here.
Yeah. All right. If you're willing, we can jump on to our next game here.
Yes.
All right. So we got the Jets and the Eagles. Jets win 24-21. Big things of note here. Zach Wilson, the MILF hunter, goes down with an injury.
Yeah.
So that's kind of bigger news. It sounds like it's going to be a couple weeks. Like it's not a torn ACL. There is
torn meniscus and some bone bruise.
A bone bruise. Yep. But as long as he keeps tapping into that Cougar blood, he might be able to get back quicker. I don't know if that's on the on the blocked list of performance enhancing substances, that MILF puss. But he was 3 for 5, 23 yards and an interception. So nothing too special. Mike White went out and, he was 10 of 20, so only 50% passing, but was able to put him 98 yards. And they also lost, I believe, earlier in camp, their left tackle, Mekhi Becton. So they went out and signed Dwayne Brown. Not a tit for tat pickup, but at least Dwayne Brown is serviceable. I think that, this Jets team is going to be another Jets team, man.
Yeah.
That's the main feeling I'm getting from that.
I feel bad for Zach. Like, I never want injuries to derail anything. Everybody who's ever watched the show knows I'm not a Zach Wilson guy. I'm not. I don't like his ability to read a defense, his decision making. He's slow to process. He always has a hitch. But I'm not going to bury Zach at all because he's now hurt. Okay. Like, that's going to take time to come back from him. He needed all of camp. He needed preseason games to get better. He's not going to get that. So Jets fans are in a really tough spot because now you're not going to know for sure what Zach Wilson is because you're going to have that lingering issue in the back of your mind. Is the injury messing with him? Because a knee will absolutely do that. They're not going to be good. The Jets are not going to be good. I like Mike White better than I like Zach Wilson. They're just going to be bad. They're going to be bad at football again. They're going to be really fucking bad at football again.
The one positive, and I can say this as a biased take, is that the Jets did go out and sign CJ Uzomah to be their tight end this offseason. I think he's going to be there.
Houshmandzadeh?
No. I believe that he's going to be their number 2 tight end. My boy Tyler Conklin from the Vikings ended up going there. I would have loved to have kept Conklin, but they let him walk. Conklin went in there, 3 catches, 23 yards. He's going to be a stable, strong tight end. He's decent at blocking, but he is also, and definitely last year, showed that he can be a very dangerous receiver. Uzomah went out there and no catches. It's preseason, doesn't matter, but I like Conklin better than Uzomah. That's just me personally. If we flip over to the Eagles, Jalen Hurts goes out, and Jets fans are probably going to be feeling elated because he goes 6 for 6 for 80 yards, throws a touchdown, 13.3 yard average, a real good stat line for Jalen Hurts. He is playing the Jets. He was playing the Jets. He was playing the Jets. I just want to keep that in everyone's, head there.
Goose. We're talking to Goose.
but I mean, not to knock Hurts. He had a good outing. That's exactly what you would expect from your starting quarterback going up against the Jets, Jets. All right. But our boy Gardner Minshew also went out there and had himself a decent night, 8 of 12, 81 yards. So he didn't look half bad either. Other than that, I mean,
I think Jalen Hurts is growing into that role. I think he's going to be pretty good. I think the Eagles win that division. I said it, 2 weeks ago, last week. I think the Eagles win that division. Mm-hmm. They are going to be so much better on offense. A.J. Brown gives them so many more dynamic options. Jalen Hurts is continuing to grow as a quarterback. They're going to be very good. They don't need Gardner. Trade him. Trade him somewhere where we can start. I'll take him in Cleveland.
Hey.
I'll give you Josh Rosen for fucking Gardner Minshew straight up.
I would be willing to send picks for Gardner Minshew right now to have him just be the Vikings backup. It'd be great. But nothing else too special with to talk about from Jets camp. I mean, Dallas Goedert got his 1 catch, 22 yards and a touchdown. I mean, Jalen Reagor might have gotten more yards than he got all last year with 3 catches, 26 yards. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Jets fans, sorry. Eagles fans,
buckle up. You guys are getting the number 1 pick in the draft this year.
Very possible. And
they're the worst team in football. They're the worst team in football.
Eagles fans, don't get too hyped up about this preseason game. You can be happy with the performances that you saw from your quarterbacks.
You were playing the Jets, and they're 2s and 3s.
Yes. And if I don't know if you can hear it, we got some loud thunder and heavy rain going here right now. So if my signal goes out again, I apologize.
That's okay.
So jumping back in, we have the Packers and the 49ers, and once again, the 49ers do what they do, and they beat the Packers 28-21. I know, like, we've been saying this a lot, preseason. Well, I don't really give a fuck. Fuck the Packers. Love to see this loss here. And people are going to go, hey, Jordan Love, he was 13, 24, 176 yards with 2 touchdowns. Pretty good night, right? Well, 3 interceptions.
3 picks, yeah.
So when your third stringer, Danny Etling, goes out 6 of 8, 123 yards, puts up just 50 yards less than your backup that you drafted
on
very high,
completions,
and a touchdown, no turnovers. That's the Packers. Didn't really see anything special. I mean, the talk out of camp has been Romeo Doubs, their receiver that they got rookie this year. He's going to get a higher volume of passes out of necessity. It's going to be that kind of Packers situation where you're going to have receivers that are not as good, would be 3s, maybe 4s on other squads, and then they're going to have inflated stats because it's a passing offense that, they just sling the fucking pigskin around all over the place.
And Aaron will put it right in your chest.
And so Dobbs, 3 catches, 45 yards. That's a pretty good stat line for him. It'll be interesting to continue to watch to see just what sort of stat lines he does continually put up. I don't think that he's a phenomenal receiver. He still reports out of camp, because I do pay attention to those Packer camp things. The reports is that he's still getting absolutely shut down by, their number 1 quarterback.
Yeah.
So, well, which is expected because he's pretty good. But,
well, that Packers defense, I've been watching reports out of camp as well. They're fucking flying around. The defense is still getting the better of Aaron. They apparently look really, really good. Like they could actually have a squad that could actually play defense this year instead of giving up 200 yards to the fucking 49ers in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, I think, of course, I'm always going to be down on the Packers and thinking that, they're going to suck. It is going to be interesting this year because I think that the offense is going to be a lot closer to the defense in how good the squads are. Mm-hmm. And that means the defense might be a little bit better, but the offense is going to be worse. Right now, it sounds like their offensive line is almost in shambles. Like they're just having injury problems and they aren't sure who's going to be trotted out there week 1 still. And if they don't have an offensive line to protect Aaron, he might be going to South America for an ayahuasca trip because he's injured.
Hand the ball off. Just fucking hand the ball off to Jones and what the hell's the kid's name? Ran over the mascot. Their backup running back.
Yeah, I can't remember. Big fucking
massive dude. Fucking thighs. Yeah.
Yeah. Out of
AJ
BC.
Dillon.
Out of BC. Yeah. So Packers lose. On the other side, 49ers, they put Trey Lance out there. He was 4 for 5 and 92 yards and a touchdown. He did have a deep pass.
Fucking great deep ball.
But yeah, that's Lance's thing is he throws a really nice deep ball. Got to put everything else together, but obviously the 49ers have invested in him heavily and are rolling with him going forward.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how that works.
There's Jimmy G's not coming to play for them again. It's
correct.
Over. Trey Lance is starting. 49ers get ready for the Trey Lance experience. He's going to make really, really fucking fantastic, ungodly athletic plays, and he's going to make some really dumb fucking plays as well. But he looked pretty goddamn good in that game, and he might throw the best deep ball in the NFL. Like it fucking tipped down right in a bucket. Like looked really goddamn good.
A 76-yard bomb to Danny Gray. That for that. It'll be interesting to see going there. Like that's, I think, been one of the things with Francisco is you are working with Garoppolo. He is limited. He's not that big deep ball guy and stuff like that. Trey Lance could provide a little bit more of that explosiveness on offense. And I'm seeing that my internet apparently is struggling.
You're cutting in and out.
We do have, like I said,
you're good now.
Heavy rain right now. And I'm surprised that you aren't hearing the thunder clap as well.
Clapping cheeks.
We'll see.
Later.
Yeah. And then that brings us to today. What's going on right now with our game? So we have 2 games that already were completed. Chiefs and Bears played. Bears ended up winning that game 19-14 against the Chiefs.
Means nothing. Oh man, I feel so bad for that Bears organization, but I don't. They fucking made their bed. Now they got to sleep in it. They're going to have to trade their best defensive player, and their offense still is in shambles.
And see, this is where you say the Jets might be the worst team in the NFL. I think it could be the Bears. Ryan Poles in there as their new GM coming from the Chiefs, and he took an approach of gutting.
Blew it up. He fucking blew it up, and he's still doing it.
They didn't have much to blow up there to begin with, and he still blew it up. And they're probably going to be losing, like you said, arguably their best defensive player in Roquan Smith, who's requested a trade. I like Roquan Smith, but he is a guy who has inflated stats, and he does miss a lot
linebacker. He's an off-ball linebacker playing behind a terrible defensive line, so he has a shit ton of tackles. But he is a sideline-to-sideline linebacker. Somebody's going to be very happy getting him. He's going to fit nicely in damn near any scheme where you play like a 3-4. You put him at 3-4 as a fucking middle linebacker next to somebody else. He's going to perform great. But like, I don't understand what their point. They just drafted a fucking rookie quarterback. Why are we blowing the whole thing up and just setting the whole process behind by at least 2 years?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what
they lost one of the most underrated, best offensive linemen in football as well. So they can't protect. They couldn't protect last year. They lost their best offensive lineman. They're going to trade their, you know what? You might convince me that the Bears are going to be the worst fucking team in the NFL.
The Jets are trying. It feels like the Bears are actually attempting to lose.
Yeah. The Jets are trying to win. The Bears are trying to lose. If anybody who didn't catch that, because Evo's internet connection is kind of hopping in and out again. The storms in Arizona can be a real bitch sometimes. So, and he's frozen. Nope, there's the robot. Oh, we're getting a little bit of robot out of Evo now.
Still here.
Are
you shoot me a link to my?
Nope. All right. So, Evo, I don't know if you can hear me or not, but we are going to kind of slide over. The Bears are fucking awful, man. They've been awful. They don't look like they're trying to do much to get better. So we talked Falcons, Lions, Ravens. Okay, we got all of those games from today. So right now we got Colts and Bills going on. So Evo can hear me. He is texting me right now. All right, so give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to shoot Evo a link on his phone so he can hop on that platform instead of trying to use his internet, because the internet's just playing hell with him out there right now. So give me 1 second. How the fuck? I'm going to send this to copy that. Let's hit up the Facebook Messenger, and then we'll do it that way. Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties. This shit happens. I mean, it happens to the fucking Pat McAfee show. They lose power. So, slight technical difficulty. I apologize for this, guys. Give me 1 second. We'll get Evo right back in here. Paste that. All right. So, be just a second, and he should hop back in. All right, yeah, but as we were saying, the fucking Bears are going to be terrible. They're gutting that team. Bears fans are not going to have a good time. The Lions are going to beat the piss out of them. Love Dan Campbell. But we got another game going on right now. Colts and Bills, 2 playoff teams. Now, stats from this game, trying to pull those up right now. Case Keenum, not looking great as a backup. 3 for 6, 32, and an interception. Zach Moss, though, 3 carries, 37 yards. A guy that, you know, has a little bit of a role in that offense, not a massive role, and could be drastically dropped down in that role, depending on if Kareem Hunt gets kicked out in that direction, because I think Kareem Hunt in that situation could be fantastic for the Bills. But yeah, Evo, we got talking Bills Colts right now. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I got you.
All right, sweet.
So I was just talking, Bills Colts going on right now. Case Keenum doesn't look great. 3 for 6, 32 and an interception. But Zach Moss, 3 carries, 37 yards. Backup running back there could get some more touches, especially if they don't add to that running back room. We talked about Kareem Hunt going there. And that's really one element that Bills team is missing is a guy that they can hand the ball to, 20 times a game, take some pressure off of Josh Allen and really make that team go. Because if they can find a steady running game, they're my pick to win the Super Bowl, not just make it there.
Yeah, I'm all in on the Bills this year as far as going to the Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl. I think that the cherry on the top is if they were to get someone like a Kareem Hunt in there. I'm interested to see what James Cook can do. I think he's being a little overhyped in Bills territory because not.
We're still struggling with Evo.
Oh,
Cutting out again.
my phone.
Yeah, your phone's cutting out too. Are you connected to the Wi-Fi on your phone?
Oh, don't have great service in this place.
All right, here we go. Here we go. It's all right. But yeah, so that game's going on right now. We got a couple other games. Steelers, Seahawks. I'm very excited to see that. I want to see what Kenny Pickett can do in that offense, if he's going to be able to do much of anything. And then we should see Mitch Trubisky tonight as well. I'm not sure how much we're going to see Mitch, but it'll be interesting to kind of see how all of that shakes out with that Steelers team. Dolphins, Bucks later on as well. Tom's not there. Tom is out of camp right now. I'm not 100% sure if they've said why Tom is missing. I don't know. Have you seen anything on why Tom is not in camp?
Personal reasons is all that they put out, which is interesting that they haven't given a little bit more information.
Yeah, I think Tom may be kind of regretting coming back out of retirement. Tom wanted to go to Miami. He wanted to be a part owner. He wanted to do a lot of things. And now Tom is kind of waiting. Miami got fucked with massive penalties for the tampering going on there. So Tom's not in camp. We'll see some backups. Was it Trask should get, I believe, the start, and then we'll see if he's developed at all from what we saw last year, if he can grow into that, backup role for Tom. I mean, we've seen a lot of guys do it. We've seen Jacoby do it. We have seen Garoppolo be that guy. Came in, have been serviceable in places. And, I mean, learning behind Tom is a great way to start your fucking career.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, Tom's going to play in the season. My worry with him not being there is that it is something related legally, possibly, that since they've been coy about it. Is there something else going on? Or is it just Tom being like, you know what? I've been in this game for fucking ever, and I just want time with my family while I can still have it. If you want me to play for your team, you'll let me just walk away for a while because I'm not learning anything new with this offense. I'm already jiving with the majority of the offensive players here. I don't know. It's kind of weird. But it is also interesting that, Dolphins and Bucks are playing in this first game, and that was where some of the connections of issues were.
Yeah, and then Tom is not in camp for this game. So, I mean, there's some things there that they're very interesting. There'll be some storylines. I don't know if the announcers will talk about it because the NFL maybe wanted to keep a little keep that hushed down, and the NFL has absolute authority to tell people to, hey, don't fucking talk about certain things while you're calling our goddamn games.
Yeah, for sure.
So, all right. What other games did we miss? Any other preseason games? We talked Titans, Ravens, Giants, Patriots.
Talk the Panthers and Commanders.
Oh no, we did not. So Panthers, man, I think they could be a playoff team. That defense is really good if they can keep things together. Baker looked like he had a decent grasp. There's still some growing pains that are going to happen. Miscommunication on one throw, threw one in the dirt. Decent little stat line. Did not throw a touchdown, but I think Baker's going to win that job out of camp. He started the day, and I think that is kind of a telltale sign that he has performed better in camp. I've seen reports out of the Panthers camp that he has looked very, very good. And I'll be interested to see what happens with Darnold if they name Baker the starter. Is Darnold going to sit back and have one of his draft mates, the guy who was drafted over him, just is he going to fall into a backup role, or is he going to be a little frustrated and maybe try to get his way out of there and go look for another opportunity somewhere else? Because he could probably start in Seattle. I mean, do you think Drew Lock or
I think, yeah, Darnold could probably start in Seattle, but I think Darnold's is tapioca pudding. He's not going to create ruffles or anything like that. He's just going to, I feel like he'll be the type of guy I'll be like, oh, that sucks. I'm back up.
he's fucking white bread. Like he's
Yeah.
plain and boring as shit.
So he'll end up just sitting there as the backup. I think. I don't expect them to try to move him or anything like that. Baker absolutely will win out of camp. He, has shown in his time in Cleveland that he can be a pretty decent starting quarterback. I'm not as bullish on the Panthers being a playoff team. I think that they could be a 500 team. I think
that
Baker
may do
will
it in
be,
the NFC, though.
I don't know.
Do you expect the 49ers to be as good as they were last year with Trey Lance?
I kind of do. I think that they can be at least as good under Garoppolo and Lance. That can be at least the same. I think that Lance can provide maybe a little bit of a spark. And if they're able to stay healthy, like if the 49ers are able to stay healthy alone, they will be better. So I think that, 49ers could definitely be a playoff team.
Panthers competing against the fucking Lions for a playoff spot? That'd be an interesting scenario. I don't think the Lions will get there. They'll be better, but they won't quite get there.
Yeah. I mean, it'll probably end up being Packers and Vikings from the North. One of the two of them will get a wild card. You've got your normal teams, the Bucks, the Rams.
Bucks, Rams, Niners.
Cardinals could be competing for one of those wild card spots. I don't know. I mean, you've got to have someone.
You're getting the Eagles. I think are the Cowboys going to be competing for a playoff spot? Because that's where we're talking about another team from. I mean, I guess
think the Cowboys will be competing for the wild card. Maybe.
Saints going to hop in that wild card race as well with Jameis?
Maybe. We'll see what ends up happening with the running back situation. I don't think that's been resolved yet.
Well, I can tell you that fucking Chris Olave has been outstanding in camp. He's gonna be their number one receiver. He has been unbelievable. He has cooked every guy in that secondary, including Lattimore. He is so good. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Olave. 2 years ago, I guess 1 year ago when we lost to Clemson in that playoff game, I thought Olave was coming out. He would have been the number one receiver drafted. Did not quite, get that opportunity this time around because there were a lot of other really good receivers. But he's been fantastic. He's a phenomenal route runner, quicker than people think. So the Saints could be good. Jameis is going to be a tough sell for me. And then we got to figure out what the hell is happening with Kamara.
Yeah. I mean, the Saints are definitely an unknown for me, just because Jameis, I don't feel super confident in. The receivers between Pittman and Olave, I'll feel good about. But then, again, it's like I don't know what their defensive identity is going to be. You don't know what's going to happen with Alvin Kamara, who's super dynamic. I can't put my finger on the identity of the Saints.
That puts the Panthers right around 7, 8, 9, competing for one of those wild card spots there, if they can get decent quarterback play out of Baker.
Potentially,
we're both on the fact that Baker's definitely going to be the starter there, right?
Yes. I think that they're outside looking in, but they could be in the wild card hunt, but I don't know if they'll actually truly be in the hunt for it.
Okay.
I think that there's a pretty decent drop off from some of your more typical wild card teams.
So I think Cowboys could compete for a wild card. I think we'll get 3 teams again out of the West. assuming that Kyler Murray studies and doesn't divulge all of his time into video games towards the end of the year like he has the last couple of years, which is still wild to me that there's a noticeable decline when fucking Call of Duty drops and when his play starts to decrease.
Mm-hmm. So real quick here, I think Rams win the West. I think Tampa Bay wins the South. I think the Vikings win the North. Yeah, of course they could be competing with the Packers there. And then I think Philly wins the East. And then wild card contenders, it's going to be Vikings or Packers.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have San Francisco or the Cardinals from the West.
And I like San Fran better than I like the Cardinals, I think. But there's just too much turmoil around Arizona right now.
And then I guess you've got the other wild card potentials being Dallas, Detroit, if they really fucking show out, New Orleans, and maybe the Panthers. I think out of that group,
I think the Panthers are right there, man.
I feel the lowest, I think, on the Panthers out of those potential wild card selections, though.
Well, it's going to be a big deal if CMC can stay healthy. If CMC can stay healthy for that team, they could be very, very dynamic, and that could propel them. One of the reasons why that defense started to struggle last year is because they were constantly being put in terrible situations by the offense. Turnovers in, negative territory, fucking 3 and outs. So if they can get a little bit of juice out of that offense, and that defense can stay fresh for a little bit longer, I think they can compete. We got some things coming in here. So from Roberta Gusalini, Cowboys suck. They are not going to be great, I don't think. Zeke is about done, I think. Tony Pollard is if you're a fantasy player, Tony Pollard's the running back to draft out of those two. I'm not drafting Zeke unless I absolutely have to.
Yeah, I mean, I would. Yeah, it's tough to take him at this point, except with like a later round pick. He'll get selected in the middle rounds or higher based off of name alone, but that's going to be a mistake.
Based off of name. And then we got another one from Goose. Is Sam Darnold going to get cut? I don't think so because I don't think they can. Well, they can cut him, but I don't think they will because, like we talked about, he's kind of white bread. He's vanilla. He's gonna just fucking hang out and take whatever's given to him, and his contract's fully guaranteed because he's on a 5th-year option.
Yeah,
so it doesn't do them any good to cut him. The only thing they could do is look for a potential trade suitor.
Yeah, I think most likely he stays with the team. The next most likely would be a trade, but I don't know that they even do that. I don't think you're getting a whole lot for Darnold if you trade him at this point. I mean, he's got 1 year left on his deal.
6th.
Yeah, you're not getting much for him. So it's easier just to keep him on the roster. So that way, if Baker does end up having injuries again, at least you've got someone that can start for you.
Yeah, I mean, Cam's not going back there. Cam's done. I don't think he gets back in the league. I think he's said as much himself that he is kind of set himself up for bad situations, and that's going to be his downfall. Going back to Carolina, starting on fucking 4 days of practice, and then the experience with the Patriots did not go well. So, yeah, I think they have to hold on to Sam because if something does happen to Baker, you need somebody. You don't want to tank the whole season. And Matt Rule, this is make or break for him. He's got to at least be competitive and close to one of those wild card spots if he wants to retain his job.
Yeah,
it's not his decision to keep Darnold, but he's going to pull for them to probably keep him just in case.
Yeah.
So, all right. We got any other NFL games? Any other NFL news?
I mean, the only other thing that, obviously I'm looking forward to is my Vikings playing on Sunday, right. The only Sunday preseason game versus the Raiders. It's a 1:25 p.m. game here in Arizona, being played in Vegas. And with that, Kirk Cousins wasn't expected to play anyways. However, he does have the Rona. He will not be traveling with the team, which leaves us with Kellen Mond and Sean Mannion playing quarterback. That's a little bit scary. Just because I mean, Sean Mannion can run the offense, but he can't play quarterback at all. Good. He's one of Kirk Cousins' best friends, and he is that extra quarterback coach, which is why we keep him on the team. But he can't play football. Kellen Mond is athletic and stuff, but he was never given a chance last year. He's obviously learning a new playbook and everything this year, but he looks completely lost in the sauce right now. Every once in a while, he'll throw a decent pass. Like, he's kind of the wild card of this game for me to see how he performs. I don't think that he can be a backup quarterback as of right now. I think that we will have to go out and get us someone who could at least play in a game if we need to as an emergency, if Kirk Cousins does go down. Which the sooner you do that, the better, because not only is the whole entire team learning this new offensive system, but you're going to bring someone in late that's going to have to learn the system and be able to perform as a backup. There's going to be a lot of veteran names out there available to go and get once the cutdowns start happening, which is kind of the shitty part because you're going to have to bring someone in late at that point. I just looked at free agent quarterbacks that are still out there. Mike Glennon, AJ McCarron, Garrett Gilbert, Nate Stanley, who Nate Stanley was with the Vikings, but I don't want him back. Anthony Gordon, who replaced our boy, oh God, now I can't think of his name. Philly backup quarterback.
Team? What team?
The Phillies backup quarterback right now. God, the great
Gardner
mustache.
Minshew?
Gardner Minshew, yeah. Anthony Gordon replaced Gardner Minshew in college.
Down in Jacksonville, right? Oh.
In college.
Okay.
So he's kind of got that same, air raid type of offensive background.
Right.
But none of these guys are anything special. I mean, the only guy that otherwise that jumps out to me is Kyle Sloter, just because he was with the Vikings and I like Kyle Sloter. But he's jumped around in other leagues and Jacksonville and stuff like that. He's not someone that you feel great about. So right now,
you guys cannot have Kirk go down.
It isn't a deep option. I mean, AJ McCarron and Garrett Gilbert are your two best options as far as veteran backup quarterbacks who can play a little bit, but I don't feel great about either of those guys. I will be actively watching all of these backup quarterbacks as they play the preseason to see who we can kind of try to poach that at least has a pulse that can go out and play a little bit. For what it's worth, though, Kirk Cousins has been rock solid as far as his injury history.
Yeah.
The only game that he has missed in his career is last year because of COVID. So now he's getting that out of the way right now. Hopefully, we'll get for the rest of the year.
I thought you couldn't get it again.
Well, we know all that to be untrue. But I'm really excited otherwise. I think we are going to play a decent amount of starters in this game just because they are learning a new system and KOC wants to put out those guys to give them some real game reps. I don't think he'll play starters very long because we do actually have a lot of depth on this team, interesting depth. I think you'll see a little bit more out of the cornerbacks, guys that will be starting this year that are going to be playing a little bit later into the game because behind Patrick Peterson, we have a bunch of not unknowns, but really raw guys that are going to need that experience, things like that. And then the offensive line, obviously going to be watching that as well because right now we have a competition at our right guard spot and the center position is completely up in the air as well.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm hoping that we sign JC before you guys do.
I mean, if we haven't done it already, I don't know if we will.
Yeah, I don't know why you guys haven't done it, but glad you haven't.
There's a lot of talk that I am hearing from other sources, not just my Vikings forums and Vikings podcasts and stuff that I listen to, as to why JC Treader isn't signed. And the low-hanging fruit is the knees, that injury stuff.
Yeah.
That they're worried about that. But what people believe might even more so be the issue is that he is the NFLPA president. And that brings a lot of baggage when you bring that onto your team, for better or worse. I think at the end of the day, you should put the best guys out that you can and work through the other shit as long as it's not like a Deshaun Watson situation. If you have a guy that can go out there and play and be a top 5 center, even if he's not practicing, the guy's smart enough to be able to pick up the offense and stuff like that without practicing.
I mean, it's the same system too.
Fucking do it.
I guess
Is it the
it's
same
different.
system?
It might be different now with KOC. It might be
Yeah.
a little bit different now. So,
But still, I don't think they're going to be asking him to do anything crazy. Garrett Bradbury, he is average in the run game, atrocious in the pass game. And the way
JC Treader
KFC's
is one of the
talked
best pass blocking centers in the league.
absolutely. You do that, and I'm not concerned about the right guard position anymore. We will get one of those guys in there to fill in and be okay. The rest of the line is solid. So if we can find a way to figure out the center position, which obviously the easiest thing to do there is to go out and get you a JC Treader, that'd be great. I don't know that we're going to do it.
Yeah.
So
Well, and so since you brought it up, I would be remiss without saying, as a Browns fan, that Deshaun Watson has come out and actually issued somewhat of an apology for all the women that he has affected with the things that have happened. This is a stark contrast to all of his previous comments, and I was very surprised that he came out and said it to Aditi. Fantastic fucking reporter. She is so goddamn good at her job. Big Browns fan, was doing, pregame stuff, was on the game last night. She asked some hard fucking questions, and he kind of finally said, I apologize to all the women that I have affected, and, I want to, move on and kind of build myself up in the community as a teammate and all those things, which was very much the opposite of the things that he has said in the past, where he has basically said, I've done nothing fucking wrong. Now, I don't know if he truly is remorseful or if somebody in ownership said, hey, dickhead, we've apologized for you on numerous occasions. We have said that you are contrite for the things that have happened. And you continue to go out there and say, you didn't fucking do anything. So we need to get on the same sheet of music. Maybe Deshaun is actually contrite, or maybe somebody finally told him, hey, dickwad, let's get on the same sheet of music here. Because based on things that he said in the past, I was very surprised that he actually kind of took a little bit of ownership.
Yeah, everything beforehand, he had said that he had no regrets regarding any of the actions in the massage sessions or anything like that. He's been very much so saying, like, I'm innocent
100%
in this whole
innocent,
matter.
didn't do anything wrong.
Yep, but his statement was, I want to say that I'm truly sorry to all the women that I've impacted in the situation. So we'll see.
Listen, I'm not a Deshaun guy. I think anybody who knows me or has watched this fucking show can tell I'm not big on Deshaun, and a lot of it comes to do with the allegations. I think he's a better player, or at least I thought he was a better player than Baker. I still need to fucking see that come to fruition. But if you're going to make that statement, if you're going to lie, you stick with the fucking lie. You never go back on the lie. If you say I didn't do anything wrong, that has got to always be the statement. Because if you don't, then you're saying that I lied and I'm sorry. Or people know that somebody got in your ear and or you're saying things that you don't actually believe.
I'll play devil's advocate with this one. I mean, he could still be of this situation of being like, look, I don't feel personally that I did anything wrong. I thought everything was consensual, but I understand that obviously some of these women have been affected by that, and I apologize that they've been negatively impacted by that. I don't believe that I did anything wrong, but I understand how they could be feeling that way, and I feel bad that the situation has come to where it is. Something like that. But I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm not talking about Deshaun anymore. I'll talk about Deshaun when he fucking takes another snap for the Browns in the game.
Sounds good.
I'm so fucking exhausted.
You'll talk about him when the ruling starts to come down.
Yeah, I guess I fucking will. God damn it, man. I just want this to be over.
Yeah.
And the ruling's going to be bad. But. All right. I got nothing else there. We got anything else on the NFL?
No, I don't think so, man.
All right. Well, and here's the thing, man. We've been going at this for almost 3 hours. We had some other stuff like college football and some MMA, but this is already a super long show. We can always talk about coaches poll and all that stuff when the actual AP poll comes out next week on Monday. The MMA stuff tonight, I'm not too super worried about. Is there any major storylines that we missed that we need to talk about today before we get the fuck out of here? Because we are fucking burning through this episode.
Yeah. No, nothing really big major for me, man. I mean, preseason, it's going to be rough unless we have major storylines and things like that coming out. Like I said, we can talk about these games ad nauseum more than most people probably even want to hear about because it's preseason football. But it's football, man. I love football. I can sit here and analyze all this shit. Once we're done here, I'm going to pop on and start watching preseason games, both replays and the stuff currently going on.
Yeah. Speaking of, if listen, the NFL is not a sponsor. If the NFL were a sponsor, man, that'd be fucking super dope. But NFL Plus allows you to go back, watch coaches film. You can fucking watch all replays of preseason games. I got it, and it's fucking fantastic because you can see some shit. Like, as somebody who was a football coach who played the game, when you're seeing that tape, that gives you a lot of information that you didn't know about before from watching that fucking TV version.
Yep.
So,
but other than that, I mean, I guess we can bounce out of here, man.
All right, let's do it. So, guys, thank you very much. We obviously had some technical difficulties today, but we had a fucking great show. We covered a ton of NFL, kind of our bread and butter. We got a couple dummy thick idiots that can sit here and talk football for fucking days, but you guys will lose track of where we're going. And we want to make sure that you guys are still having fun while you're here. So thank you very much for tuning in. Torres, thanks for the call. Anybody who ever else wants to call in, we'll absolutely take that call and welcome you on. If you guys want to interact with the show other than calling, you can email us any questions that you have. linemanlounge@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter @linemanlounge. You got the Facebook page as well, where we drop a ton of memes and fucking irreverent bullshit because that's basically what Facebook is for at this point. So we thank you guys all so much for your support. We're going to get out of here and start enjoying the rest of the weekend. I got about get ready to go cook dinner. So thank you. We'll be back next week. See you.
Welcome to the Lineman Lounge, hosted by Mike and Evo, calling their shots and being outlandish.
Breaking news from Lineman Lounge. My fantasy football team just took a huge fucking hit. And that also makes it even more likely that the Raiders are going to beat the Ravens on Monday night. Le'Veon Bell is about to be your starter. Latavius Murray is going to go there as well. Jesus, fuck my ass.
Get ready for the thickest podcast in the game. Coming to you from Hangar 6, where sleeves